I'm gonna quit busting my butt down here if we don't start our meetings on time. I'm getting a little irritated about this. Happens every month. I mean, it's.
All right, you ready to go? All right, I want to welcome everyone to our board meeting today, November the 21st. I'd like to welcome our guests, Fort Wentworth, our attorneys, staff, and our community involved. Also our board members. Thank you all for coming today. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Beverly, can we do a roll call, please?
Yes.
Good morning.
Director Emister,
Present.
Director Odell,
Here.
Director Stone,
Present.
Director Lockett, Director Adams,
Present.
Director Robinson,
Present.
Director Leggett,
Present.
thank you, Director Taylor, Chairman, Director Taylor is present. Okay. And Chairman Cody.
Present.
Thank you, Chairman. You have a quorum for today's meeting, and Director Lockett is on the way, sir.
All right, thank you. Before we go into today's agenda, I'd like to welcome Mr. Owen Bryant, Senator from Senator Ossoff's office. I want to say a few words, please, sir.
Sure, I don't want to take too much of your time. It's great to meet y'all. It's great to be down here. I'm Owen Bryant, legislative assistant to Senator Ossoff, transportation, infrastructure, and housing policy out of our DC office. I know y'all got a packed agenda. You're doing great work. Obviously, been supportive of your applications in the past, and we'll continue to be supportive. I've left a lot of my cards, some of Senator Ossoff's cards, as well as this to make sure we are maximally responsive and can be as supportive as possible. There's a lot of diverse needs in the housing room within transportation and across the county for a bunch of different needs. However, we can be helpful. We want to be responsive to your resource for y'all. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. And where are your cards?
What's
So
that?
right here, I've got a handout. He was
Okay.
just trying, there was a lot going on in the room, so we'll pass it out.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. All right, moving into approval of today's agenda.
So moved.
We want to remove an item 4. We want to place under individual action.
All right, I make the motion to approve with moving item number 4 from the consent agenda to individual action items.
And Chairman, if I may, item number 6 as well,
All right.
community surplus.
Who's requested number 6? Who?
Additional information is needed, and we have one board member that has to make a statement.
Okay, then I will amend my motion to add number 6.
Yes.
Chairman, I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Thank you. Chairman, the motion on the floor is to approve consent agenda items 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. Director Emister,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett, Director Lockett,
Here.
and we're approving consent items, Director Lockett, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. Yes.
I do,
Okay,
yes.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Taylor, Director Taylor, you may be on mute. You may have to unmute. Director Taylor not present for the vote. And Chairman Cody?
Yes,
Chairman, motion passed.
thank you. Next, we have two presentations. Our first would be by Madison Williams for Rebrand and Strategy 2023. Oh,
Hello, good morning, everyone.
good morning.
How you guys doing? You doing good? Fantastic. That's good. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. I am Madison Williams. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager here at Chatham Area Transit, and I'm very happy and very pleased to be able to share with you our brand refresh strategy moving forward. So, Chatham Area Transit has been serving the community for decades. However, the changing dynamics of urban mobility and the rise of alternative transportation options is essential for CAT to remain relevant and at the top of mind for its users. Yeah.
Thanks, bye.
Fantastic. All right. Can everybody see that? Okay. Okay, cool. So the objective is to revitalize Chatham Area Transit's brand, making it more modern, accessible, and appealing to a broader range of residents and visitors. And this is exactly how we plan on going about it. Not in this. There we go. So just to recap, for those of you who may or may not be familiar, these are our modes of transportation. Some are right in the near future, but most of these are happening right now as we speak. We have, of course, our fixed route. We have our Chatham Area Transit CAT Dot. We have our Savannah Bells Ferry, our paratransit CAT Mobility. Wonderful micro-transit is what we're very excited about, the CAT Smart, and of course, CAT Connect. These are some refreshed logos that we've come up with to show folks that we're ready to make these great new moves and great new strides. So with anything, there is, of course, a situational analysis, looking through the strengths, the threats, the weaknesses, and the opportunities that we do have. When it comes to this, the strengths are establishing we have an established place in our community. Our president is already there, which is a fantastic thing. We have a loyal customer base. We have folks who ride CAT buses every day. The infrastructure and the routes are already in place. When it comes to weaknesses, it's time to potentially update our brand image, modernize a little bit, and to improve our service all around. Now, when it comes to something like this, oftentimes threats could be, there's other ride-sharing possibilities that folks could do. There's private vehicle ownership, and of course, some folks may have budget constraints. However, this also brings up quite a lot of opportunities for us in the future. Master transit plan implementation, of course, our micro transit plan, a microtransit service, the growing urban population, increasing the emphasis on sustainable transportation, the wonderful technological advancements in transit management, and of course, letting everyone know that CAT is for everyone. We all are CAT. That's the wonderful thing about it. And of course, at some point, having, CAT branded vehicles that we can take out to different events, and like a retired paratransit vehicle, for instance. Moving forward, this is our rebranding strategy, focusing on the visual identity, the messaging, the initiatives, accessibility and equity, sustainability, and of course, improving our partnerships. Let's go to the next slide. Our visual identity, updating the CAT brand guide. Our brand guide dates back to around 2013, and so it's time to shake things up a little bit, revise the foundational branding for the document to reflect our modernized image and where we're going. We are also working with Morpho Web Design to create a new website. We were going to have a launch today, but we are working with some technical things here or there, so that would be launched later on in the future.
I have a question about the website.
Yes.
Are you gonna have the switch on it so it can translate into other languages?
Yes, ma'am. So with the web company that we're working with, that is something that we made sure that we include in this new website. There will be options, accessibility options for those who have visual impairment, those who may have audio impairment, and also for those who speak other languages as well. Even in our current website now, if you go up to the top, there is a Google option where you can edit and move the languages around as you so need.
Okay. And they're gonna make sure it's optimized for mobile.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, next slide. Messaging. Our tagline is always on the move, as with anything, open to different ideas and suggestions. But we really want to focus on community storytelling, sharing those narratives that highlight CAT's impact on the community and its members, focusing on highlighting the CAT riders, the employees, and the greater Chatham area community. Next slide. A new wave of initiatives. Bus stop and platform upgrades. I don't know if you saw in front of our CAT Central building, the bus stop there has Catch a Cat on there, wonderful grass background, and we're going to try and, make some things look nice, a lot prettier, and just kind of like add some spice here or there to get folks really, really excited about public transit. The plan is to enhance transit stops and platforms for improved aesthetics and functionality. Next initiative, at the ITC, our Intermodal Transit Center downtown, focusing on a resource corner, establishing a dedicated space to provide valuable community resources to riders and to the broader community, helping folks know that there is help out there, helping folks know the resources that they can use to help better their lives and improve their condition. Next, of course, is the CAT Recycles program, introducing a system-wide initiative to promote recycling and reduce waste, really focusing on growing green. All right, accessibility and equity. Making sure that all of our deliverables, digital and print, have, if someone needs a separate language, then we have that option there for them. Making sure that there is already a Spanish language translation as well. And as some of you know, we are working to move forward with our student free fare program. We're testing a free fare transit model to improve accessibility and improve ridership. Sustainability. We are growing our electric fleet as we speak, are transitioning to electric vehicles, reducing our carbon footprint, and promoting green transit. Promote car van pooling, which is our micro transit. Continue to advocate for shared transportation options to reduce congestion and emissions. And of course, recycling and sustainability and using eco-friendly practices whenever possible. I'm proud to say that we have some wonderful partners. Some of you here in this room, some of those who are watching online. As you can see, this is our list of our current partners here in our area. But of course, we have a list, an ever-growing list of future partners that we're in the middle of speaking with. Right now, in conversations with a lot of the local sports teams from Savannah Bananas, Savannah Ghost Pirates, Savannah Clovers, that's a soccer team, the Coastal Georgia Buccaneers, a new basketball team that's come to Savannah, and of course, in works with In-Market Arena as well. We want to revitalize our programs that offer transit benefits to local employers and educational institutions. As of now, starting January, as mentioned before, we are going forward with our free fare service for students. And we want to continue making sure that folks know that they can count on us to get to where they need and want to go. Next slide. These are some peer agencies that had a similar rebranding. They're of a similar size to CAT, or at least they cover a similar type of area. They all have something very, very in common, which is interesting. They want to modernize their agency's image, of course, with the visual color scheme logos, and emphasizes the agency's commitment to community and to sustainable transportation. That is something that each and every one of these services are doing, and that's exactly what we're doing as well. Next slide. The rebranding outcomes, the key takeaways. Community alignment, modernization, community engagement, that's essential. Consistency is crucial. Making sure our messaging is clear. And we have to monitor and iterate, making folks understand and know that like we're happy to get feedback and that we're ready to make changes and to shift in case we ever need to. Next slide. And our expected outcomes, increasing our ridership, increasing our website and social media traffic, increasing CAT's reputation, and of course, increasing the usage of our CAT tracker.
Madison, one thing we might want to do on that very last slide is to mention that Directors Adams and Edminster are presently working with us through as a working group on the CAT tracker and helping to look at improvements to that and considerations around that. So we wanted to thank them and appreciate their important role in this.
Absolutely.
Piece.
Thank you both for that. Very excited to see where a CAT tracker goes and where our app goes. All right. Are there any questions?
The question is just, I guess it's a question. I noticed you were talking about like vehicles. Do we currently have any like buses right now that are being utilized as so? And has there been any type of coordination or conversation with Hyundai? Because their vehicles, electric vehicles,
We actually have had that conversation where right now our primary emphasis in coordination with Hyundai is on providing their connection of people to jobs. But we have had some conversations. They're very interested in hydrogen cell power as well. And there's an initiative actually that Senator Ossoff is leading in the state, and that the state leadership is also committed to, in addition to electric vehicle expansion. And then we do have both electric fixed route vehicles that are in operation, have been now for some time. And then we also have electric paratransit, and our micro transit vehicles will be electric.
Are there any further questions?
I've just got some comments.
Okay.
Obviously, I like to think about visual branding a lot. I feel like it's the first thing. It's the first thing that people see. It's the quickest way to create trust, and it is incredibly important, just as much as everything else that we're working on. And I'm really glad that we're going to be taking this on in the next year. I also think that branding is not something that you do and then you leave on the shelf. It's a consistent, persistent activity, just making sure that we're always putting CAT's best foot forward in every way. A couple things that I have mentioned before, and I will continue saying forever, is that poor design is a form of censorship. There is so much attention, or there is so much desire for people's attention for CAT to not be trying the best that we can to make sure that people in Chatham County are very aware of the entire of the full breadth of resources that we offer is unfortunate for them and very unfortunate for us. I think making sure that we've got excellent branding, which allows people to take attention of what we're doing and use the resources that we've got. The ferries, the Dodge shuttle, the fixed route shuttle, the smart grant is very key. I also would recommend that we have some sort of policy around what gets branded, and not just wrapping the buses maybe, or not just a flashy slogan, but in terms of what sort of documents is the board looking at that we want to sort of be putting through the visual identity machine. A couple that I think we really should focus on are the budgets that we create and put out there. Making sure that those look visually appealing is not just for the benefit of the people reading it, but it's so that we're saying with the well-designed budget, this is a document that we take seriously and we want you to take seriously as well. I think it would help us to have kind of a policy around these are the major documents that we create throughout the year, and these are the ones that we're going to take some extra time to make sure that they not just look nice, but they're effective for humans to read, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is making sure that humans can use the information and be able to absorb it quickly and effectively. I'm really glad to see this one come up, and I'll be on you guys.
Thank you very much.
And that it turns out really well, because I think it's incredibly important. It takes time. It's very much time.
And I'd like to make one comment if I may. And I appreciate the presentation. And I'm also an advocate for, we can say that what we're going to do, but the how and the when is also important. That's why I'm coming. We're providing a service. We're projecting the future. It's always good to know how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it. That's important.
Absolutely. You both, thank you both for your comments, and you both actually touched on some of our key takeaways for our rebranding initiative, what we're doing, focusing on the consistency, having the clear message, making sure that the community is aligned with what we're doing, and making sure that the service matches what we're saying that we're going to do. So that's all the questions we have. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we will have our attorneys, Mr. Ty Butler and Andrew Walkoff from Bohatter Falcon, discuss our legislative and service.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm not used to coming up to the podium to speak. I usually have my own microphone at my desk. Unlike Mr. Williams' interesting and engaging presentation on a really fascinating subject, I've been asked to talk about the legislative framework that CAT operates under, legislative and Georgia constitutional framework that CAT operates under, and that is what I'm going to talk about. Let me just first call out my colleagues who are here, Ty Butler and Donovan Julius, and say hello to them. You all, board members, all know Ty. Some of you, I think, had a chance to meet Donovan. He'll be working with us going forward. So why am I doing this? Faith thought and staff thought that it would be a good idea for us to give a presentation today on a number of overlapping and sometimes even potentially conflicting pieces of legislation that prescribe what CAT can do as far as providing and expanding transit service in Chatham County and beyond. So let me just first give a caveat. I'm not going to be able to provide any legal advice to the board during this presentation. It's a public presentation. You all are welcome to contact me privately, and I can give you more of a legal advice assessment of any questions that you have. This today is really a factual recitation of the framework. And that reminds me, I have one small handout for the board. It's around. Great.
Keep it moving.
I created just a one-pager, a little chart describing the key constitutional provisions from the Georgia Constitution, a key section or act under the OCGA, that's the state legal code, and two so-called local laws that prescribe how CAT operates. I'll just give you a second to get those handed out.
I got that. I've got it on my computer right now.
All right. So you'll see I placed at the top of the page a reference to a portion of the Georgia State Constitution, the so-called Home Rule provisions. Those are important provisions. Why are they important? The Constitution specifically provides that counties and municipalities have what's called home rule. What's home rule? Essentially, it's local self-government, which is an important principle under Georgia law. So, but there are limits. Counties, for example, are prohibited from taking action in certain areas, including significantly any form of taxation that's not authorized by the Constitution itself or by other state law. Paragraph 6 of the Georgia Constitution authorizes this is Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 6. It authorizes the creation of special districts, kind of a term of art, special districts, for the provision of services through fees, assessments, or taxes levied and collected through several different methods. Those home rule provisions then link up roughly with an act passed by the Georgia legislature called the Georgia Transit Authority Act. That's the citation for that is OCGA, that's Official Code of Georgia Annotated, Section 3299, and then the following 5 or 6 sections after that. So what is the Transit Authority Act? It's a general law, and I should back up. In this presentation, I'm talking about both general laws and local laws. What's the difference? A general law is just what you'd think. It's a law passed by the legislature in Atlanta. Statewide application passed by the entire legislature of the state and signed by the governor. That's what they mean by a general law. A local law, and I'll get to these in a minute, local laws are passed by the local delegation, but then adopted and have the force of law. So local laws affect a local area only, have the force of state law, but they're not passed by the entire state legislature. So the Georgia Transit Authority Act that I mentioned a minute ago, 3299 and the following sections, is a general law. It provides that a transit agency can contract with local government to provide transit services. But there's an important caveat there. If those services are funded by taxes that are levied on the taxpayers who live within that special district, there has to be a referendum.
Within that municipality.
Correct. But again, the first proposition under that act is that a transit agency can contract with local government to provide transit service, except that if it's done through taxation, paid for by taxation, there has to be a referendum.
Andrew, quick question on that, if you don't mind. Under the handout that you had, it says that if the county.
Which handout is that?
It's legislative overview.
Oh, right.
Expansion, and this is under issues number 2. It says if the county wants CAT to provide service in a municipality and is going to fund that service with special transit service district taxes, in other words, not any tax, but that tax, and is collected within that municipality, there has to be a referendum. Does that referendum then apply to anything or just those special services transit tax district taxes? Because that's the way it's worded in here. I'm just curious.
It doesn't seem like it applies to everything.
That's what I thought too.
It seems like it
I wanted to
applies.
make sure we clarified that.
Right.
I think it's, in other words, if a local government chooses to fund with local general fund O&M dollars, that would not be the same as the special transit tax district being the funding source.
Exactly.
I thought that was just an important clarification.
But is this a direct quote? I mean, is this written directly out of 32911?
What is what?
5.
I'm sorry.
Which one, Director Odell? I'm sorry.
Number 5.
Part of it is, not all of it, not all of paragraph 5.
Because when I read it the other day, it seemed like the municipality was responsible for getting the consensus of their voters.
That's true, and only the qualified voters in the area to be taxed.
Right.
If you're taxing less than a full city limits of the municipality, then only those who are qualified voters who reside.
Ty, I'm sorry to interrupt. Maybe you should come up. Oh, could we do that? Okay. Sorry.
That's also part of what happened with Garden City, with the sort of pieces and parts, because part was in and part is out, and that was also.
But they're being taxed.
In part they are, but in part they are funded through general fund OPM for outside of the special services tax district. There's both there.
At the time that the legislation was passed in 1986, and then it went into effect in 1987, smaller municipalities other than the city of Savannah had the option to opt out of the special district.
Right.
They all, with the exception of Verdenberg, which later opted out, but Garden City initially opted out, but then they realized that there were citizens of Garden City that were relying on the service, needed the service, wanted the service, so they Garden City opted back in, but with an agreement that only a certain portion of Garden City would be taxed and receive the transit service.
Right. But their voters in that specific district wanted service, right? They
Right.
opted in because their voters
Yes.
wanted that service.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand why we're at cross purposes, that we need to have a legislative agenda to change something that works.
I'm not sure what we're proposing to change. I don't see.
Well, okay, so our agenda is to do what with the legislator? Have them clarify something? I'm not understanding.
I think
The
this was
role
just-
of the legislative delegation is to do what? And amend the Chatham Tax Act. If we not amending it, does that mean there's nothing, I mean, there's something wrong that we're trying to amend or correct?
We're not trying to, this was just for informational purposes. I don't think there's any agenda to change anything at this point.
This was
But it
just a
says
presentation.
next steps.
Well, that would be next steps if you decided that you wanted to change something, but.
But to
I don't think
change
we're-
what? Like, what would we be wanting to change that needs to be a next step?
Well, they're listed. The role of the local legislative delegation or the potential amendment of the Chatham County Tax Act. Those are the two,
Yeah.
if we wanted to make. any
Amend
change.
it to what?
It says, what would an amendment look like in consistency with the home rule provisions of the Georgia Constitution?
So what's inconsistent with the home rule provisions?
The purpose today, Director Odell, was not to suggest any changes. It was merely to bring everybody, make sure everybody understood the original
Up to
CAT
speed.
Act, the amendment to the CAT Act, and then the levy of the transit tax district, because right now it is, as you pointed out to us in an earlier meeting, the transit tax district boundary is countywide. It's just not levied countywide. And it's to bring everybody up to a common understanding so that as questions come up over the next several years related to service expansions or providing, commuter express service or whatever it might be, that there would be a refresher on all those things. That's the only purpose.
So y'all are educating us today for no specific reason. And so we're not gonna come back later to say, oh, well, we felt that the act is inconsistent here or inconsistent there. I do not believe that y'all have a potential next step without something in mind as to what you intend to potentially next step.
I can tell you I have nothing in mind. To the extent that my handout there mentions next steps, that was adapted from an outline that I had done, so I apologize if it gives you the misimpression that I have something secret that I'm planning to bring before you. I don't. I have no agenda.
Andrew, I don't believe-
They just asked me to talk about the legislation.
I'm not saying that you have an agenda. I'm not saying that. I'm not necessarily saying staff has an agenda, but you prepare documents based on requests and instructions from staff. So you wouldn't be the lead on that. And if your notes left you with some mind that there are potentially next steps, are you saying that you didn't get anything from
6
staff
months
that
ago,
gave you next
6
steps?
months ago, we met with the county
Uh-huh.
and the county attorney, and we talked about the home rule provisions.
Right.
And we talked about the county special, the special service district. Several years ago, the county the county passed an ordinance
Mhm.
making the boundaries of the special district coterminous with the county.
Right,
Like
like in
we were
2016 or 7.
correct.
Right.
We were exploring months ago
Right.
the idea of, what does transit look like in the county? What do we do going forward?
Right.
So that language,
So-
that
so
word or
When y'all
two.
had that meeting, was there any issue that was at cross purposes for you to be able to extend services countywide? Or was there some roadblock or some issue?
No. I mean, we
There was none.
none.
Andrew, you might mention there was actually not a roadblock, but there was a inconsistency of opinion about when referendums are required and so forth. And that was a part of that conversation that was had between attorneys. We were just talking about what is it, and this was related to what you revealed to us several meetings. It's been some time ago, Director Odell, that in fact the boundary is countywide. And what does it take then to levy it countywide?
Well, it takes the opt-in, and the municipality must secure the opinion of their qualified voters.
Or in some cases, that it's not funded through the transit tax district at all, but it's funded otherwise through general fund and O&M budgets. And that was what there was a question between the county's attorney and our attorneys where there was discussion around that. I think that's the only place
Well,
where
we
there was
really
some-
could ask the question if M&O budgets qualify to pay without approval from the voters, because M&O budgets come from taxes.
But not special service district taxes.
Right.
Right. So,
All that's required there is a contract between the municipality and CAT.
okay.
I have a question. My question is specific, it was back to what's on the agenda. Why are we doing this? What is the overall purpose?
Yeah,
Without a workshop with the board or introduction to the board first, why are we doing this in a public setting today? My question. What's the purpose?
I defer to Faye. I mean, she asked me to make the presentation.
It was just to bring everybody, it was to bring, because there had been questions both around Garden City recently that we had to solve that were a little unclear. And then, of course, Port Wentworth was opting in. Hyundai's been talking to us about services. Effingham County has mentioned the possibility of services. So there's a lot going on, and it was to say, let's bring everybody, let's make sure everybody has the same understanding of all of this.
To me, it created more questions. I'm thinking that if there was a question, then there should have been some kind, maybe a board meeting or a board workshop or something before we did this.
Right, and Hyundai wouldn't apply to this because that would be that's a separate company. It'd be the same as we did a contract with Gulfstream or the air. I mean, that's not the same.
Again, this was just for information purposes, but if it's the pleasure of the board and you would prefer that we not continue and we wait and hold this to a workshop presentation, we certainly can do that.
I wish we had known that this is the type of presentation we're gonna make, because it's in the interest of time alone. I've already questioned the length of the agenda to start with. Now we're creating a whole another scenario, more questions. You got to stop the answering.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I wish that, I can't undo what's already here, but I want to think a little bit more. The next time something this comes up, that it won't take up so much, the question's gonna come.
But on that same vein, we get the agenda, and if there is something that somebody wants removed, all we need to do.
I wanted an explanation. It talks about potential next steps. For somebody to want to do something, they have to have a motivating factor. I'm trying to understand what is the motivating factor. If we're saying the motivating factor is because I asked questions about Port Wentworth, then, okay, that explains that. But I don't understand what we're gonna be talking to what the role of the legislative delegation is gonna be if we don't have some instruction or request from them.
We didn't specify any next steps. Again, our intention was at the staff level was simply to have a chance to refresh everyone on the boundaries and the act and the requirements, because there's a lot of growth and service expansion questions coming at us. And it was merely to try to bring a refresh level to everyone's understanding. And if there were any questions around just the facts of things, we would have a chance to do that. If it's been in any way confusing, that's certainly not been the intent. We can pull this in over to a workshop presentation where there's a more robust discussion.
So you're saying that these particular issues are not of issue?
Well, I think that we're trying to plan for the future of what might be, because we just don't know right now. There's so much opportunity coming at us, and we want to be sure that we're prepared with, foundation.
What we're gonna do is, we're gonna table this.
Yeah.
And we'll get some more information on it. We'll get us a workshop together. Yeah, great. We'll add that to our retreat shop.
I would honestly almost recommend that because this is so foundational, not only to how CAT operates currently, but any future expansion, which I do think we should aggressively be looking after. We need to make sure that we're able to do this appropriately. If we do find a problem with the way that this is written, then I do think it makes sense that we would amend it. But obviously, this is some complex stuff. This is some very complex stuff. I'd almost recommend not adding it to the board retreat, but having it just a separate meeting, because it's some deep stuff.
Yeah, it'll take a while.
Wow.
All right, so I appreciate that.
Thank you, Andrew.
I'm gonna put the microphone back and sit down and be quiet.
That's a good move.
Right. Yeah, first on our consent items, authorization to ratify the emergency procurement for payment for services rendered in June 2022. We're gonna get approval of the minutes first.
And
Second.
Chairman, if I may, we could take one vote for all of those items listed under consent.
Yes.
My apologies. And we can do one motion for that action of item 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8.
I make a
This board
motion to
accepts.
approve items 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8 under the consent agenda.
Second.
That includes the emergency procurement? I just want to make sure. I think I heard.
It
something on
does.
that.
It includes everything except 4 and 6.
Okay, great.
Okay. Motion made by Director Odell and seconded by Director Stone. I'll do a roll call vote, Chairman. Director Emerson,
Yeah, yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett. Not present for the vote. Director Taylor,
Yes.
thank you. And Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you. Before we move on, I'd like to acknowledge Veterans Day and our participation for last week. We had our union reps with us, the Swinton, and I just want to thank everybody for participating. Our veterans are the reason we're here today. Thank you. Moving on to our individual action items. We'll get authorization to submit an application to Fuse Executive Fellowship for the spring 2024.
But I think we have to do 4, right?
Add that later. Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion
Yes.
to approve number 1.
Second it.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it'd be helpful if staff would kind of tell the public what this is and how it's going to be beneficial to the moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Robinson. That's an excellent suggestion. This is the approval of the Fuse Executive Fellowship application. It is a partnership with both the Fuse Foundation, the Waverly Street Foundation, and the City of Savannah at no cost to CAT. The Fuse is a national nonprofit that has goals and focus areas around equity and environmental justice, sustainability, climate change, and so forth. And we are requesting the submittal of an application that would be due by December 15th. It would enable us to be activated in what they call a spring 2024 cohort in March. So it would layer in nicely with our SMART grant work and our next SMART grant application. This executive fellow is going to be working with the Chatham-Savannah Authority for the Homeless, the City of Savannah, the MPC, CAT, and others around the intersection of transit mobility, affordable housing, and homelessness. Very timely topics. And it will leverage initially off of some of the work we're doing in East Savannah with the Tiny Village for Unhomed Veterans.
Any more questions?
Move to approve.
Okay.
We have a second.
With no
We've
further
already had a
discussion,
motion. Second.
we have a motion by Director Stone and seconded by Director Lockett. I'll
Yes,
do a roll call vote.
yes, please.
Director Emerson,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett. Not present for the vote, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman, I'm sorry. Chairman, motion passed.
I just want to say, we were, Director Leggett is not here. The city is currently putting their budget, so he's also the city council. He's trying to hang out with us.
They're not approving it now.
Yes.
No, they're approving it on the 9th, but today is their continued conversation. I think it's like a second hearing, I believe. Is that right, Dr. Robinson?
Okay, so not today. So I got it right in the left.
The final approval is scheduled for the 9th.
But I just want everybody to understand why.
I got
Thank you, Dr.
Fred.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we have, authorization to implement zero fare days for fiscal year ending June 2023 for fixed and paratransit operations. Do we have any,
Does Dr. Meany or Mary would you like to talk about that item?
But that should be ending fiscal year 2024.
should be 2024.
That correct?
That's correct, and it was changed on the agenda item. It's in red in your packet where it was changed.
No, I thought we were going to do an additional calendar July 1st. That's what we said last meeting, that it was till June 2023. And then when the calendar changes over July 1st for the next budget year, they would give us a list of those for the full year. This is just a 6-month calendar.
It's through the end of this fiscal year.
Right, but it's 6 months, it's like 6 months of it.
Right, and then we'll give you, when July 1 comes, we'll give you a calendar for all of next fiscal year.
Right, so the date's correct. It's to June 30, 2023.
I mean, it's 2024.
June 2023 are passed. That's my point.
It's 24.
Yeah, these are for the rest of this fiscal year, which doesn't end until June of 2024.
Okay.
July 1, 2023 to June
Oh.
2024.
Fiscal year.
Understand?
Brain freeze.
It's been a long year.
Yeah. It's not gonna be June next year, 2023, is it? We got a new year coming in.
May I ask
Do
a
we have
quick?
anything on authorization of the implementation of?
I'll make the motion, but I have a quick question. The St. Patrick's Day, I thought the city of Savannah contributed towards that. So why would that be under a zero fare day?
Mary and Ms. Cutter and Dr. Meany, I would ask for your support in answering it.
The city of Savannah does contribute to St. Patrick's Day by providing a sponsorship at certain designated points to get the public to and from the parade route. They do that. Also, other municipalities in the past has entered into a service agreement with Chatham Area Transit Authority to render special services within their municipality.
Like Fort Wentworth and places like that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
The Pula did last
So
year, didn't they?
you-
Last year, if you can all recall, we did that with Garden City.
So there is some payment on St. Patrick's Day, I guess, is, okay.
Yeah, we had Pula for the first time last year, right?
I think it was Garden City.
Garden City.
Okay, I was just curious because it's, then that's, I guess it's kind of unusual to say it's a zero fare day if we're contracting for services.
We were supposed to add the Chatham County elections in May.
Zero. CEO DeMassimo, would you like to amend that report, removing St. Patrick's Day from zero fare?
I think that we did not, I thought that we checked on those dates and we didn't have those dates yet. Was that not correct? I'm talking about the election dates that she's proposing. We did
I think
reach
it's
out
only,
based
I think
upon-
it's only
I think
one
it's only one.
unless it's a runoff. It's in May. What is it, huh?
I don't know.
You did
And
that.
I also think saying that it's zero fare is more about the public.
I understand, it just in my mind, I'm thinking zero fare, zero money, when we are collecting some money on St. Patrick's Day, that's all. It was just more of a
The
clarification.
advertising part is more for the public to understand.
I understand.
Yeah, it probably would be less confusion to take it off since they do have to.
It
I
doesn't
think we
matter
could
to me.
come
I mean, it's
back
not a
and
big
add
issue. It
additional
was just a
election.
question. Do we receive some supplement on St. Patrick's Day?
I think on the election days, Director Odell, if you're okay with it, what we'd like to do is maybe bring that back as an addition later, just because I know that we had reached out and we weren't able to get a confirmation about the exact number of days. And to your point, there could be a runoff, and so we've got to calculate all that in. So if we could acknowledge that we'll make a note on that on election poll, taking people to the polls, that we'll make sure to bring that back as additional needs are required.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and make that motion for approval.
Then I continue my second.
Thank
All right,
you.
Beverly can do it.
Okay. Motion made by Director Stone and seconded by Director Lockett for the approval of zero fare days for 6 events coming up in fiscal year 2024, I'm sorry. I'll do a roll call vote. Director Emister,
Approved.
Director Odell,
Approve.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, he had to leave early due to the city's budget hearing. Director Taylor, thank you, and Chairman Cody.
Yes,
Chairman, motion passed.
thank you. Next, we have our authorization to approve the fiscal year 2025 budget calendar. You have any comments?
I do.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you to staff for providing us with additional time to look at it. I really, really appreciate it. You guys put into giving us that extra
Do you have any more comments or questions? Do we have a motion in a second?
time.
Second.
Beverly, can you roll call?
Okay. Motion made by Director Robinson and seconded by Director Stone to approve fiscal year 2025 budget calendar. Director Emister,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes,
Chairman, motion passed.
thank you. Next, we have, to create a capital and special projects fund account. We have suggested to table that item. We're gonna go into discussions with it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Do you think that Stephanie could give us kind of an update on on this, that would be great.
Based on, Robert's rules of order, are we gonna vote, we got two different things. Either we gonna table it, no discussion, or we're gonna move it to the individual item and vote on it.
That's what we're doing.
No,
No, that wasn't it.
That's what we just did, right?
no, this that discussion stage.
But this is number 4, correct?
Yes.
But there's a motion to table it
Depending on the motion.
and not vote on it today.
If the motion on the floor is to table.
I'm curious as to why we would want to table it.
Why would we want to vote on it?
Because,
We know, what do we know about it?
well, that's why I asked Stephanie to give a presentation.
Yeah, but she's gonna give a presentation and we don't know anything about it. And just from her presentation, you want to move $2-some-odd million.
I would like to hear what she has to say.
I would
And there
too.
might be some urgency in this. I don't know.
Okay, first of all,
We have,
motion,
we can table it. We don't have to make a move on this until, January.
Okay, if y'all want to do that, I mean, I was just ready to hear
No,
the
what-
presentation and vote.
Directors, one thing I think it's important for you all to know is that the capital commitment is actually included in the budget that you've already approved. So
this point forward. We've got an item on the agenda that we moved to the individual action item. Chairman's call for a recommendation to table this particular item. Robert Rules of Order states that if we vote to table it, there is no discussion.
That's correct.
There's no discussion. So I don't think we
Who-
can keep doing this.
Who made the
That's what
motion to table?
recommendation is.
Okay, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Vote to.
You're right, if there's,
You can vote to not do it.
if there's a motion to table, then that takes precedence.
Yes, and we vote on that. If it goes down, then we go to the next step.
Correct.
That's all I want.
Okay.
Then let's do a roll call vote.
Okay. So we have a motion for the table, a second.
Second.
And Chairman, roll call vote.
Yes.
We could always vote again to table it.
Right now,
We could vote against it. You don't have to table it.
And I would like
We can
to-
go into discussion.
My vote personally is gonna be to not table it.
Well, let her do the vote.
All right. I say no.
Okay. So right now we have a motion on the floor to table item number 6 under individual action. I'll do a roll call vote for that.
Wait, I thought this was number 4.
Oh, I'm
Number
sorry,
4.
number 4. Please forgive me. Thank you for that correction. Item number 4 for the capital and special projects fund accounts. Okay, Director Emerson,
No.
Director Odell,
yes.
Director Stone,
No.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed to table this item.
Thank you. Next, we have,
6.
number 5.
No,
Number
6.
That we removed from the agenda. We want, on the community surplus vehicle donation award. We have any discussion on that?
The reason why we moved it to the, individual action items, because one of our board members sits on one of them, we want to choose himself.
I know, we want to hear from Dr. Manning on this.
So one group is getting 2 buses?
I have some explanation on why we want to table this. So if you all are aware, there was 6 vehicles with a table. Oh, and then I said, okay. So the amendment is because we have 6 vehicles that we were going to donate. We have 4 recipients, and we had a call from 2 of the recipients that they are no longer interested in a big bus. They rather wait till we have a paratransit type of vehicle. that we plan to bring it to the board next year. So out of the 4, 2 are out and 2 are in.
So it's just 2 people
Yes, it was
that
4.
you're gonna distribute some amount of 6 buses to.
We're giving 1 each as per requested. Yeah. So 2. Yeah, the 2 I have Frank Collin Boys and Girls Club that they're not interested in the big bus. They'll wait till we have a paratransit vehicle approved for next year. And then Ladder Strategies and Solutions. These 2 have sent us information that they're not interested in big buses.
Okay.
And so
And then you got 3 left, so
I
who
got
else
3.
pulled
So
out?
3, Resurrection, Powerhouse, they were disqualified. They didn't meet the merits set by CAT and the board.
Okay.
And so Mind Gas Plus and Harambee House, those are the recipients that are still interested in the big bus.
Where is, oh, I'm sorry.
My question is, when we put the information out to apply,
Where is this?
is there no description that it's actually a large bus?
We did.
What do we need to do differently?
What?
Sure that it's clear.
Yeah, maybe my suggestion is that the next time we do this, we should have all the vehicles ready, both paratransit and fixed route, and then announce it. So what we did this time, nothing was wrong. It was advertised. I had the media. I did the media coverage on this. It was a well campaign issue, but for some reason they found out later that they didn't have, because you need a CDL to drive these big buses. Insurance is high, so they kind of backed off.
That's what my question is really about. So talk about small nonprofits especially, you gotta make sure they're clear. The bus you're getting, you have to have a CDL to be able to drive this bus around.
Yeah.
Is this a new, I mean, I haven't heard of this one, have you?
Well, I know we have a transit last.
No, I'm talking about this one that we given a fixed route bus.
So this way, if you can recall, we brought to the board, it was 15 vehicles that we were donating 6 for nonprofit organizations within the community.
Right.
And then we're gonna auction 6, and then 2 were scrapped. They had,
I'm not saying I disagree
Okay.
with your decision. I'm just asking who it is.
Yeah, what
I've
the
never heard of
organization.
the organization before.
Oh, okay.
Is it a new organization? Has it been here a long time? Do they have a CDL? Are they gonna be able to use the bus? Is the bus gonna, I mean, that kind of thing.
yeah,
One that I am familiar with is a Rondé House.
Right,
okay.
And they, I think that they.
we know,
have-
yeah, but they're old,
have capacity to
Yes.
go.
Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
around.
long time. I'm talking about the other one.
And if you see the where it says nonprofit description, it gives a little summary about the organizations.
So is it new? Do you know how long it's been around?
Yeah, some of them have been around pretty much 10 years, and some have been
Is
around.
this one?
Well, the 2 Frank Collin and boys have been around pretty long.
They've been around
Yeah.
since Jesus was a baby.
Yeah.
We know about them.
And strategies, pretty about 5-6 years. And the Humphrey also around the same 5-7 years.
I guess the big deal that they got to be able to have a CDL.
Yeah, so maybe,
That it didn't matter.
yeah, you're right. So I guess next time we do this, I highly recommend that we state in our campaign that you need a CDL for these big buses.
So we don't know if this particular group has anybody that can actually drive the bus.
Well, they
Can we
may,
legally donate it if they can't drive it?
well, the 2 that say they want it, I guess they are okay with, they will have some measures in place, a driver, insurance.
If we tell them?
Oh, yeah, they are aware. The 2 that wants it knows that you need a
Oh,
CDL.
that would be under the qualifications, right?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I also suggest that you continue to do this separate. If you're gonna put out paratransit, that may be confusing too. You do both at the same time.
Okay.
I think they did it separately this
We
year.
did it separately, yeah.
But
Yeah.
you say you're
Yeah,
ready.
that, I was saying, if we advertise both, whenever we have both, this time we only have the big buses. And now we have identified about 6 paratransit vehicles that we'll bring it to the board next year. So,
Is this the RFP on the back? Not the RFP, but the guideline that you use?
yeah, this is the vehicles, a description of the vehicles. It's all the data. So the at the back of, yes, the very back is the judges. If you look at this one, at the very back, this is how they were scored.
So ask that, where in there is it?
Is this what was given to each of the people that applied?
Yes, so it was an online application, and so you apply, answer all these questions. And why Resurrection Power Church was disqualified, there was not much information about their company. We tried to reach out to the owners, and we didn't have any communication. So the judges called Resurrection at 11.67. So they didn't meet the requirements.
So is the online application more detailed than this?
Yes, it's online and you can all access it.
Okay, so because this does not list that they need a CDL.
Well, I don't think the online will even mention about the CDL.
Well, I thought you just said that it did.
That's why.
No, let me double check. Eric, can you check that for
I
me?
mean, that's a very valid point, that we don't need to be giving buses to people that, and they can't legally operate them.
Well, it gives, yes.
Dr. Manning, are all these buses fixed route?
Yeah, these are all fixed route buses.
Okay.
Everybody's checking online. I'm not too sure if we did advertise about CDL.
Looking at it now, the online one, it doesn't look like there's a requirement for a CDL. There is one. Applicants must certify they have the financial and management capacity to insure granted vehicles if selected as recipient. But there isn't one necessarily on the CDL.
On the CDL, okay.
How much does it cost per year for maintenance on a fixed route bus?
It's a big bus.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive, yeah. And also,
Space. Yeah, Frank Collins Boys and Girls Club.
yeah.
Space. Where are they gonna put it?
Yeah. So people, two of the organizations that turned it down were concerned about parking space, insurance, and maintenance. Now, these vehicles are all over useful life.
They already have an old school bus, so they must have somewhere they're parked.
I would almost, let me know if this is not a good idea, but I feel like we should maybe just double check with the folks we're about to give these buses to, that we're not gonna, I once was given a 30-foot long bus and it was terrifying. And I had no idea what to do with it. I had no CDL license, I had no idea how to turn it on. It was a huge.
And that was surprised because in our campaign, we said you can come on site. We donated 2 days for anybody interested to come on site and physically see the vehicle. And to my surprise, nobody showed up.
Well, I think, I'm kind of feeling like, hear me out, should we maybe table this? Double check with all these guys that they do want to take this bus on, that we're not gonna just plop a 35-foot long, huge bus on their hands. If they do, awesome. If not, then we don't give it to them. And I think maybe we spend some more time thinking about how to, it's a big bus, I'm gonna repeat that. How, like, are there other creative ways we could get these into the community, making sure that the organizations taking them on can handle them?
That's why
If we don't table it and we give it to them, what's our responsibility? After we give it to them, are we responsible for anything that happens with the bus?
No, we're not.
Do we transfer title at that time?
I would assume there would be a bill of sale.
Yes.
They would transfer it, the bill of sale would absolve CAT of any continuing responsibility or liability with
Yeah.
regard to that.
We'll take it off our insurance, we take off our tag, and that will be on their own.
So if we give it to them and they can't do anything with it, that's
No, that's not on us.
not our problem.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the title will be signed.
The title will be signed to them.
Title and registration.
Yeah, and we take off our tag, they off our insurance, before they leave out here, so.
I mean, maybe if you don't mind, we'll make sure we do that the next time.
Yeah, 100%.
And then we'll ask more pre-qualifying information before we give a vehicle.
And
All
we may need to think about, sort of restructuring this program in a bigger way so we can find
Yeah.
some other folks.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I'm happy to vote on this as long as, if we approve this, if they can refuse the bus, because I don't want to force them to take the bus from us if they do realize.
I don't
Does that
think
make
they
sense?
would have trouble saying, I don't.
I think area has something to add on.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Just to Director Edminster's point of when he was like saying we should contact all of the recipients of the buses, I did do that earlier this week. I spoke to one who told me that they didn't want the bus because they did not have a CDL driver. And it was going to be hard to always have to get and pay for a CDL driver to drive the bus. So it was aware. The Hambury House, they were super excited. They said that they wanted the bus. My Girls Plus wanted the bus as well. And I made sure that they knew this is the big bus, not the paratransit. Even one of them said, we'll reapply when we release paratransit. So just for Director Edminster's point, just to clarify.
Auburn probably has somebody on their board or staff.
That helps a lot, thank you.
Yeah. But the other one, I've never heard of the other one.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm. Without being really clear on what they did.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am. Definitely noted. Yes, ma'am.
Ben, that satisfies all my questions.
All right, no more questions, then I'm gonna take my seat at the time.
Thank you, Dr. Manning.
Okay.
We have a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion for approval.
Second.
Beverly, will you do a roll call vote?
with the idea that we did it then.
Yeah.
And that's total number.
Yes. So to Director Stone, to your motion, this action will provide approval to award one fixed route bus to the Harambe House, and then one fixed route bus to the My Girls Plus. And Chairman, we have a motion made by Director Stone, seconded by Director Emerson.
Yes.
I'll do a roll call vote. Director Emerson,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote. Director Taylor,
I won't be able to vote because I'm a board member of one of the recipients of the buses.
thank you for that. Chairman, are you?
Thank you. Yes. All right, thank you, Bill.
And Chairman Cody?
Yes,
Okay. Chairman, motion passed.
thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Next, I want to take a motion and a second to move forward respectfully by today. I want to move forward word before we go into executive director's report. If we can get a motion and a second on that.
I move to, yeah, that's what I think.
Shall we can do a roll call, please?
All right, so Chairman, this is a motion to take off the table. Okay. And that was motion by Director Robinson?
The motion is the motion to move
No, he's asking
it
us to
up.
move it up.
I want to move it up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I want to move it up.
Agenda.
So we can go
To
ahead.
amend the agenda, got it. Okay. All right, so a motion on the floor to amend the agenda to move old and new business up.
Yes.
And we have a motion by Director Robinson and seconded by Director Emerson.
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote. Director Emerson,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, not present, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
We still.
Okay,
the
Chairman?
software licensing, number 8. Are we supposed to vote on that too?
That was under consent.
Okay.
correct?
Yeah, that's already been voted on.
Only 4 and 6.
Oh, that was last.
Right, now we have, authorization to
You
enter
can't go below.
a service contract with the city of Fort Wentworth for the expansion of Route 3B. Do we have any discussion?
I make a motion for approval.
We have a,
Second.
we have
If I'm not mistaken, I think the motion has to be first to take it off the table.
all right.
Didn't we just vote for that?
We amended the agenda to move
Yeah.
it up,
Oh, okay.
To
take off.
Hey,
Okay.
I'd like to move to untable the.
All right.
and second.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Motion by Director Emister and seconded by Director Stone to take off the table service contract for the city of Fort Wentworth for the expansion of Route 3B. Roll call vote. Director Emister,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes,
Chairman, motion passed.
thank you.
No.
Now we're going on to a motion
I made the motion to
to approve
approve.
authorization to enter a service contract with the city of Fort Wentworth.
Thank you. All right. Chairman, we have a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Going into discussion.
I would just like to say I'm extremely excited to see this move forwards. I've already said a couple words at the workshop or the committee meeting we had last week, and to kind of repeat a little bit of that, it was so exciting to see such enthusiasm from the leadership at Fort Wentworth on the bus trip that we took. As somebody who's been very focused on the downtown and sort of Abercorn from downtown to Georgia Southern area in terms of where CATS ridership is. I feel like you guys helped me kind of see a new vision for the rest of Chatham County, one that really solidly incorporates more of our municipalities to the west in a really very real, very crucial, very resilient way. Which is kind of a new thing for me to say. If you've been listening to what I've been talking about on this board, a lot of it has been really focused, sort of around here. But it's been very cool to be able to work with this group, and I'm really very excited to move forwards. And I think this could be a template for future partnerships as well.
Okay. Thank you for that.
March, yes.
Yeah. I'd like one comment that, for me, it's about getting our citizens where they need to be timely manner. People who make that happen is our drivers. So I want us to understand that CAT is a lot of effort in putting the right drivers, thanks to our union, on the routes and ensuring that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And I also would like from Fort Wentworth to make sure to give us feedback, how well it's going, and how it's really working for the citizens, because it's about the citizens in our community that we do.
We will. All right. Have any more comments? All right. I'd also like to thank you and welcome you aboard. At this time, we're going to take a motion and a second to approve.
We've already done that.
All right. Seven?
All right. Vote. Director Emister,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett, not present, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would just like to say this, knowing Fort Wentworth like I do, we're going to have a good relationship, and we welcome them.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Good to be on board.
You.
We're here. That's what happened. We're here.
Yeah, that'd be fine. All right, thank you all very much.
Your next item, so we got lunch waiting on us there.
And also her lunch is really good.
Yes, it is.
They're actually.
Should've come on that bus tour.
Thanks, man.
Commissioner, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That's who your crowd was.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next, we'll be going into our executive director's report, and I'll be turning the floor over to our CEO.
Can we turn the air down first, y'all, please?
Thank you, Chairman. Sure.
It's hot.
So we'll still be doing the a little bit different format this month. I know that in a past meeting, a couple of past meetings, there was a request from a couple of you to start to incorporate some of what I share with you in snapshots every other week in the executive director's report. So we're going to do that today, and then we'll follow it up with the communications monthly report that we also share during this time. Excellent. So an update on the proposed settlement for the dock ramp due to the seawall collapse. We are continuing to work through our insurance carrier, and it looks like we are approaching at last, after months and months of back and forth. Sterling Pritchard Seegers did a great job in helping us to work with the carrier, and it appears that we'll be bringing a settlement to you the first part of 2024. That will help to recover much of CAT's costs due to the dock and ramp impacts from the seawall collapse. The Greyhound lease progress update. We have been negotiating with Greyhound literally for a year. And we've mentioned to you that we've got a market rate for the lease rental square footage that was not present in the what had been the current lease. We're in a month-to-month status right now because Greyhound is finalizing some arrangements with regard to their renovations in the part of the building that they will retain. We expect by January to have that lease back and ready to present to you, and that would also be the month when the new lease rate would go into effect. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to just go through all and come back to questions?
I can, however you'd like to do it, Director.
Well, one of the things is with that renovation for Greyhound.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that going to do for the customer? Is that impact the way they sit, how does that work? If we're taking part of that space ourselves, what are we taking away from Greyhound to what we want?
The entire, when you walk in the doors down there now, Director, and they've got a window to the, if you're walking in from the street side, they've got a window to the right, and then all of our stuff, we have a window to the left, and that common area, all that common area is ours, and that is going to be the new boardroom.
So the customers, either for CAT or Greyhound, will not have a place to sit.
No, the CAT customers will, but because we'll still have a seating area inside as well as boardroom area, but all of the access for Greyhound will be from the end of the building where their service will be housed.
So my question would be.
Yes, sir.
Transportation, are we going to update that or upgrade that?
Are we doing what, sir?
As far as security?
We are. We have already started securing that building earlier in the evening, and we've been working with Greyhound directly on security matters there. So we have enhanced security there, but we are going to continue to look at that. We're doing technology-related things as well as staffing-related matters in order to improve that.
Well, good, because I've received several complaints about security over there.
You know, one of the issues that exists there, and I know you all know this, is we've got the facility right behind us that is serving our unhomed residents. And we get some spillover from that activity in terms of where people will take up sleeping and, you know, just places to be. And so that has also created, but we've had a really strong partnership with the Homelessness Authority, with Savannah PD, and with particularly the parts of Savannah PD. They have a unit that deals with this sort of more community policing kinds of things. And so what we've been doing is working really effectively together to get folks to services, not just move folks away from the area, but we want to be sure that our passengers feel safe and comfortable, and that we minimize those issues. But I understand, and I appreciate you mentioning that.
That community is for Greyhound customers. So you're saying that they'll have seating on the outside of the building?
They're working on what their amenities are going to look like, and we have not, they know what part of the building that they have, and they do have an inside space on that end of the building. So I don't know exactly how they're building it out, because that's their piece to do. But they do have an inside space and a window that faces out towards those doors on that end of the building.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, to me, the main thing for Greyhound is to consider where does people want to sit, because they're paying to ride the buses to get to where they need.
Yes, ma'am.
So they shouldn't have to sit out in the rain or cold without some kind of consideration. So I would hope that as we talk to them, we need to ask them questions, because it's just the main thing to do.
Sure. Then on the things that we are focusing on, you know, we have recently completed the triennial review and have been notified of the corrective actions that will be required. We had 4 areas of focus, three to 4 areas of focus, and I've mentioned these to you again in some of the snapshots, but I'm calling this out in this report today. One is in procurement. Another is in civil rights, including DBE and EEO, and it was more around our reporting structure for that. The other is on how we are, so there's procurement, and just data analysis overall. So we are making sure that the areas that they specifically called out, including maintenance of our ferries, that was also another particular area of note, that we are addressing all of those things. On the procurement program management side, I'm going to drop down from number 1 to the update on bonfire implementation. Again, that's the same procurement software that the county uses. We are in the process of getting a schedule from bonfire for implementation, so I hope to have that to you soon. We're still working on performance management. In the budget that you've already received, you noted that there were performance management specifications or targets that were spelled out throughout the budget document. And we are working on key hires in the DBE and EEO space that will fall under Mr. Sanders, our new CAO, and so forth. So reliable funding expansion is always top of mind for us. It's really important that reliable recurring local funding that we can use as match. Policy revisions. We are continuing to review comprehensively policies, and we will be, when we get to the budget or to the workshop with the board, we have a list of policies that we've identified that we'll be in discussion with you on and with some suggestions, but we'll also be looking for suggestions from you as well. But we're still working through a comprehensive review of all those.
Can we get a notebook with the policies in it? We haven't gotten them in a while.
Of course.
Curtis.
Because I think what the audience needs to know is the board's responsibility to help the staff to set policies. And in revision of those policies should be something we can look at, you know, beforehand.
Of course.
You know, give us sufficient time.
Of course.
You know, not have it.
Of course.
No.
No.
I think the idea of having the policies as they are now, you know, and I'm sure you see things in red line and whatever.
Right.
Recommendations that.
Yes, ma'am. And an explanation of why we're making those recommendations. Yes. I think that's important too. So great suggestions. We will get that to you as a part of planning the retreat. And then you saw the presentation today on modernizing our brand across CAT service lines, and the proposal for a rebranding effort. I know Director Robinson mentioned the what and the when. What we had hoped to do today again was to give sort of an overview presentation to sort of set the framework of what we were thinking about, and then in January come forward with the what do we need to do in order to affect that. When do we need to do it? How do we do it? And then present that to you all, and there would be resulting, then, of course, board action items that would be considered to implement.
It seems like the bus stop shelter inventory is taking a really long time.
No, ma'am, not at all. The bus stop and shelters inventory work, we set a 6 to 8 month schedule for that, which is really ambitious when you have 1,100 shelters. And they literally, we are GIS coding every single one of them, so that we have the ability to manage that effectively in the future.
But I thought they started that when Curtis was here, doing the inventory.
No, ma'am, there was a very, very old inventory that was completely out of date, and there was nothing started since then. So we are completely updating that inventory, and it will be, we've probably got about 2 to 3 months left.
Will that information be available on stages? Like, will I be able to, by my own free will, be able to go on there and see? Because the bus routes are.
You're talking about in the GIS?
Yeah.
Once we get our website updated and once we get the actual product in, but yes, we're working together to make sure that those are the kinds of things where it's transparent and information is available on what we're doing and where we're doing it and so forth.
Director Adele's point is for us as a board, that even before we've been asking about updating the promises that are going to happen. You see, that's where we are right now.
I got
That's what you're asking about. So what does really happen?
Right.
Her point, you see this, you promised before.
We just finished, so we have been doing updates with the consultant that is working on this project internally in terms of the project management and work effort. We will have something ready to present to the board, I think by January, February, that shows the inventory work that's been done and talks about what's left to be done in order to complete it for us to be able to use it. But they just, it's probably been 2 weeks ago, we got a really substantive update on how many of the stops, how much of them they've already completed, the GIS coding, the condition of, everything from lighting to, is there a seat there at all? Is it just a lollipop? All of the condition of it. So,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The administrator asked about stages and the website. I don't think we as a board need the website. We can see it in writing what the stages are for our benefit.
Not stages, stages.
Oh, stages, that's the stage of progress.
no, ma'am. It's a part of the geocoding.
Yeah, I know that part, but I thought you were that's the stage of what you were doing.
No, I thought he said stages too, so.
Yeah, but that's not a bad idea for us as a board member, because, we had the promise before, for you to send us even writing what we've done, what you just described. Let us just know what's going on.
And there have been updates in Snapshot, but I realize that sometimes there's a lot in there and it just doesn't jump out at you. So I will make sure that on this one, as it's a priority for the board, that we give a specialized update on that.
I also asked for a bus stop sponsor program so that businesses could sponsor a bus stop. I'm not sure which CEO I asked that of, because, yeah, it's been a while. But if y'all could work on doing some so that a business can, because we talked about on Abercorn, you got all the car dealerships there. They may be willing to sponsor one in front of their dealerships.
What we need to do is have you all, to the point that you brought up earlier, Director Robinson, about the board's role in policy, is we need to be sure that we have a clear and effective policy about what we will accept as advertising. So that's just a really important thing that we got to get that spelled out on the front end. And right now, we've placed our emphasis on actually getting the inventory work done, so we know what we've got, where it is, and what condition it's in. And we can begin to think about not only prioritizing the improvements that need to be made, but also to think about which ones are optimally placed for advertising potential. And let's have a policy that goes along with that that says, within this is our limits or our specifications for that kind of advertising. But
There are some city ordinances that prohibit advertising on bus benches or bus shelters. that, the main one applies just in the historic district, but there's also a citywide advertising on both ends.
You told us that, and the thing that we thought about was to just put a plaque, not necessarily a wraparound or anything, but just a plaque saying, yeah, this.
We just need to check with the city and
Because you-
find
yeah,
out if there's any.
Yeah, because you brought that up when we talked about it. There should be some notes. So
We can talk to the city about that and get clarification on that as well, so that if there is an issue there, we can figure out how to resolve it. And if there's not an issue and we can move forward with something that's more of a adopt a stop kind of a thing, we can
Yeah.
do that as well.
because they did it in Seattle and it's really nice.
Just give us, I would ask for you to give us just a little bit, because I really want us to place our emphasis on making sure we get this inventory work done, so we know what we've got and where it is and what condition it's in.
I'm not rushing. Okay.
All right.
I think I've seen some signs around town where certain organizations have.
They have. We've got a couple of them. I think it's less than, is it less than 20, 10?
I don't remember how many there are.
It's not a lot, but some organizations have already put some up under, some were Chad and some were Curtis.
All right, very good. The next part of this will be our communications update. Mario? Thank you.
Good afternoon. All right. Good afternoon, Chairman Cody, Board of Directors, staff, Mr. Massimo, and my colleagues. I will be giving the October update of the Marketing and Communications Department. I wanted to start first with Cat to the Post and keeping our promise to our board in reporting the ridership numbers and our outreach. So if I could have Dr. Manny please come up, because the ridership numbers is a part of operations, and I wanted him to explain that. While I explain the public outreach portion, we sent out social media alerts of CAT being zero fare for Election Day. We sent out text alerts. We sent out press releases. We shared the information about zero fare with Chatham County PIO and City of Savannah PIO, as well as their public broadcasting channels. And we also shared it with the Chatham County Board of Elections, who also shared it on their social media and also put it on their website. So if Dr. Manny can speak a little bit about the ridership.
Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, Chairman Cody, Ms. Frey, my executive team, and the public watching us at live. Yes, we did compile this data to share with you on Election Day. As you can see from the pie chart here, on that day we had 4,096. Yeah, 4,000 and what's that? 86? 47. All right. The font is so small, so I don't have my glasses. 47, yeah. And what we did on the fare box is that on the fare box, you can program it to use some code. If you press 9 code means that everybody that is riding free. So by the help of the ATU president, help me out with another code 6. So code 6 is to bypass and count. We were trying to capture two data: how many people rode free that day and how many people did we let off at the polling stations to vote. Now, we got 68, and trust me, it was more than that. The 68 pretty much was those polling stations that had bus stops. So what the drivers can see is people getting out of the bus, walking into that building, and then they just key in. So if they were a block before the polling station, the drivers couldn't count them. So we'll find a better system next time to make sure we capture also. 68 people were counted as physically going into a polling station to vote, and 4,046 rode on Election Day, all free. Any questions on that? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Manny, for that explanation. Moving on to our cat tracker, we have more than 22,000 downloads. On Apple, we have about 18,000, and on Google Play, we have more, close to 4,000. I think I was a little close to the mic there. I apologize for those online. Breaking down our monthly active users. For Google, we had 960 monthly active users of our cat tracker, and on Apple, we had more than 1,900 active users. Our service alerts, they do continue to increase, but we did see a slight slump this month in October, and I believe it's due to the fact that we switched to a whole new system, which I introduced last month. So I am looking to have this number go back to our increase of 5 or more as we consistently seen throughout the whole year. Our social media platforms continue to increase. This is just an overview of how many followers we have and the following that we have on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. This is just a breakdown of that you guys get every month on follower growth, impressions, and unique visitors as well. In the month of October, CAT's marketing communications team participated in the CAT Smart Microtransit External and Community pop-up events, which we truly thank all of our board of directors and the public. We thank Savannah State, we thank Georgia Tech, we thank the park who allowed us to have our community event there, and all the work that went to launch this movement of microtransit to the public. We still have more events and still more dates to cover, and we are so excited for what CAT is doing with microtransit. I can say that people are excited. We got really good feedback, and they just want to know how much it's going to cost. So, which we're doing a fair study. We'll get that to them very soon. We participated in Savannah State's homecoming parade as well as the Veterans Day. No, that was November. I'm sorry. And we sent out the outbound newsletter. In October, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we had the award out in the lobby on the table. We received the Environmental Excellence Award from the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce at their annual awards luncheon in October. It just shows that CAT is doing a lot in the electrical vehicle arena, and we're excited to bring more in the future. CatCast. We released episode 9 of the CatCast in October, which focused on teens with Mr. Massimo, a representative from the Ghost Pirates, and 2 representatives from Savannah State. I did want to give a shout out to Director Lockett for helping us get that together. He called the coach and he was there, so we thank you.
I told him to be there.
Oh, okay, yes, sir. Teams. So we went with the Ghost Pirates and Savannah State to focus on teams for that episode of the CatCast. We have, and I did want to mention that, did want to give a shout out to Madison, our marketing communications manager. He's been working very diligently with Mr. Massimo on bringing the CatCast to life every month. I think you guys are going to be really excited for December, and so you might see some nice characters. In October, for our Cat in the News, Cat was mentioned 82 times in the media outlets for the month of October, mostly promoting Cat to the polls, our proposed expansion to Port Wentworth, and then our microtransit external and community events.
This would be a good slide that would be a bar graph.
Okay.
See in context, because 82 more, less, average.
Right.
I think we only ever see this as one month at a time. That seems higher.
It was higher in October than we have seasonal months for Cat that the news picks up, but we're trying to change that. We're trying to keep Cat in the public, which is part of our rebranding.
Smart.
Cat to the polls. It was a lot that we promoted in Cat, and we thank you guys for spreading everything we promote consistently all the time. We hope to see more of that in 2024. And that's all for me.
I want to add one quick thing. CatCast, you got a little, I think you got a little teaser. But you might expect to see Santa visit Cat to talk about our wish list in the December CatCast. But in January, we're very proud that we are going to be hosting a CatCast that's focused on our paratransit operators and riders. So we're excited about that one too. So December will be a little fun, and
Yes.
January will be sort of back to business.
All right, sounds good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
It's Dr. Manny. Dr. Manny, service update.
Okay, let me make sure this is on. Good afternoon again. I guess I've been on the podium, 3 times now? So, good afternoon, Chairman Cody, Ms. Faye, board members, my executive team, and the public watching us at large. Today I'll be giving the service delivery to let you all know how we're doing and what we're not doing and what we're doing right. And it's a lot of positives here to say. So my first slide, as you can see, that the board has set our on-time performance to 70%. And for the first time, we're getting close. We're just 5% short to reach that target, which there's no any supporting data that we have ever done that. So 65 was the highest, and it's close to the 70 target. Compare October to September, we had about 4% more. The more we can be on time, I keep saying this every time I do this presentation, that is how reliable our service will be. People will use our system if we are reliable. If we're on time and then we are dependable, then people will leave their cars in garages and run our system. So on-time performance is one of the key KPIs that we should be monitoring. And so I'm happy to say that the month of October wasn't that bad. Yeah, so vehicles, what we did is we had a supervisor on the yard. Now, I've always said this, if we don't leave on time, we're always gonna be late. And when we're late, we're not reliable. So every morning there's a supervisor with a clipboard, making sure that people are logged in and they leave on time. So I guess if service is all dependable, ridership surely is gonna go high. Yeah, that is just my, and also I want to say thank you, Dr. Robinson, for the idea you gave me on my PowerPoint presentation. Now, if you see green, that means it's positive. So yes, and the red means it's not good. So we're going to see a lot of green and red here.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great example, again, like we are human, information is dense, and we need all the help.
Yes, and I try to simplify all the PowerPoint presentation so people understand. The month of October was also good in ridership. And as you can see, on-time performance was high. Therefore, ridership is also high. If you have 65% being on time, then you're gonna have more ridership also. So October, we had 177,039 ridership, which is very, very high. And this number will always go up. And I want the board to be watching this. Whenever ridership is high, that means on-time performance should be good. Okay. That's great. Yeah. Now, I put this here into parentheses to just show to the board. The paratransit side of our business is also measuring on-time performance. Now, you're going to see better number next time. What was not factoring is that, so for example, if we said a bus is going to be there 9 o'clock, we have a window of 15 minutes earlier or 15 minutes late. So if I get there 9:15, that means I'm on time because of the window. Now, what the software was not doing was not calculating that window. So if somebody get there 9:01 instead of 9 a.m., it's calculated as late without factoring that 15 minutes window. So we call them and we'll fix that. So hopefully next month, using the window, if you schedule to be picked up at 9, we'll get to your house at 9:15. We are within the window, we're not late. And so that number is gonna go up. Next slide. Now, I think you all seen a lot of stuff in green. That means we're doing good. Yep. Now, on the paratransit side, I predicted this last month in my presentation that we're gonna have high ridership because we're able to hire more drivers, train. Right now, the paratransit is almost 98% fully staffed. And so October ridership shows the 14 drivers we hired, they all join our workforce September 25th. So that's why this October numbers is high. For the first time, I'm proud to say that our transit is almost a wrap. We have 98% fully staffed. We have 90% vehicle replacement. So we bought 20 vehicles, 10 gasoline and 10 electric, plus what we have now. So we don't have any problem of like we have in the past where vehicles were not available or breaking down. For example, you're taking somebody to a dialysis and in the middle of the journey, the bus breaks down. That is no service. So this time is very good. We have a very good report from the city. Our riderships are happy. They're giving us a good report. And also, for the first time, we would have people on extra board on the paratransit side that we never had. So it's, and also, as you're gonna see in the report, unassigned schedules are all zero. Okay, now we're back to the marine services. As I've been reporting, the marine ridership is always high. Despite we have all this old fleet, the month of October, we had 58,299 ridership. Compare that to last month, it's a big difference. So why that anytime they have people visiting Savannah and we can provide service for them to ride across the river free, that is the goal. It's free and it's reliable and people can always count on it to cross the river. So this number has, the only negative here is that the board had set a target of 59,520. We were that very close. We came 58,299.
How many of our, how many buses are actually running? Just one?
So we have 2 ferries running now. Yeah.
2 ferries
Running now, yes.
So September 1, you have 2 running in September.
September 1, yeah, good question. One of them broke down and then in the middle of the month, yeah.
That's gonna be a funny one to have a target for as well, because it's so volatile.
Yes, yes.
Month to month, our ridership, extraction has changed a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, but, yeah, no, this is, yeah, this is very useful. People rely on it.
I hate them. I wish somebody would buy them. Every time we turn around, we're spending money on it.
Yeah. Now, I have explained this several times. The mean distance between vehicle failures means how long can we run our service before the breakdown? The board set a target of 12,000 miles. And we have been exceeding that since I've been here. Although our fleet is depleted, is over mileage, over useful life, mechanics are doing an incredible job. This is in red because we comparing October to September, we had a lot of shortfall. That's why October is in red. And Dr. Robinson, to be aware, we have green in September. Yeah. Yes, sir.
This is a this is a good example of a graph that should probably be a bar graph. Bar graphs help with time.
Yes.
Changes in time.
Yeah.
And pie charts are for when things are happening
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
It's hard for me to see at least August, September, October. November.
So if you look at here,
But even
the
that
color code.
visually, the story that a graph bar chart is.
It's good. Okay.
Like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. All right. We'll change from pi and give you this. Yes, sir. About ridership? Oh, the vehicle fare was no. It's only for the fixed wire site. How long? And it's FTA requirement too. How long? The FTA set it up. As a matter of fact, the national standard is 14,000 miles. Yes. And the board set it low, which is good. That means how long can you run before your vehicles break down? And by breakdown.
Are you saying we're averaging 30% of our goal?
And the 30% was in, what is that, 33? So I have 31, 33, and 36. That's all representing every month. On average, yeah.
But it's 33% of the goal.
Yeah, you guys were comparing to the target of 12,000 miles. Anytime we exceed it. So this August and September and October coding is just showing the percentages of how we exceeded. So that's a positive thing. Was that your question?
How we exceeded?
Exceeded, yes, because if you look at your standard, it's 12,000 miles. We went 14,000 miles.
Okay.
And even September, we went even higher. We went 14,000, almost 15,000 miles.
So is 12,000 a reasonable expectation?
Well,
Or should
that-
we go with the standard of
I would say if this is what the board has set up since I've been here, but the national average by the FTA is 14,000 miles.
And I'm saying, should we adjust?
Yeah, we should go up.
To the national
Yes,
average?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think we should discuss that and move it up. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only way to hold us accountable, see how long our fleet are running before breakdowns.
Okay, so what do we need to do to adjust that target average?
It might be a policy
I'm
change. Well, it's been 12,000 since I've been here, so
Yeah,
I
but
don't know
that-
how they set it up
But it
before.
could have been 12,000 for the last 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah, you're right, you're right.
That would seem to be appropriate for another one of those policy evaluations and considerations, and bring some recommendations back to you, but for our upcoming retreat, and discuss what sort of target the board would like to set.
Okay, because yeah, he's saying the average is 14 and we're
Yeah.
at 12.
Yeah. Yeah, we should be close to the national average. But even with all our old buses, we'll still be exceeding the target of 12,000. All right, next slide, please. Okay. This is something that I'm very happy to talk about this. And again, I'll say to the public watching this, please, if you need any reservation for paratransit, you can do it online. And I've been campaigning, if you all can recall, it used to be 6 just about a year ago, and these numbers have been going up. And for the month of October, we have 189 trips. That means people can go online and do reservation. Currently, what most people are doing is they call into the call center, and that's why the call center volume is always high. So the more people do reservation online, the less the call center volume is gonna go low. So I'm campaigning on this, that if anybody watching us today, if you need our paratransit service, please, you can do reservation online. And it's just as same as calling in. Yeah, we have,
I just think something to think about when you say that. I think technology is great, I agree, but how do you know that they're not doing it because they're not able to?
all right, so people that are able to do it are using online because they feel like calling in and on hold and all that long, so they find a way. This is for people that are able or accessible to do any reservation online. Please do so. So we have had some clients that have just deviated from calling in and doing online, and I applaud them. I personally call that individual and say that's good. Oh no, they just taking calls in, and then I have somebody also monitoring the online reservation. So it's just for people that have access to it and are able to do online reservations. Yes, right, please. And we're still back to the call center. So this is an indication what I'm talking about. If you look at August, now the board set a target of 60 seconds. So the board said nobody should be on the phone more than 60 seconds. And if you look at all these numbers from August, September, and October, the last month, October was very high, at 108 seconds that people will be on hold, almost close to a double of what the board had set up. And in most, yes, ma'am. It wasn't fully staffed till last week. We hired a supervisor that left us, so we have a replacement. So, and then we have 2 coming in that are in training. So before Christmas, that's a game that they should make sure we fully staff before the holidays, so people can, call in and get the service that they need. So we just hired 2.
What's the number of employees that makes it full staff?
They have, so on a daily basis, you have 5 staff taking calls, and they run on a shift. So what I'm trying to do now is, the call center had about 15 vacancies, and you'll be surprised to see that the call center cut off before our fixed work hours, something that I've been campaigning on, and I will write a proposal to have. So call center gets over.
Wait a minute, are you saying that their hours are policy and that's not within your range to change?
Well, it's been like that since I got here. I just want to find a way to change it.
But that department is yours.
Yes, my department, yes. So I have recommended highly to move it from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., same hours as the fixed route.
Okay.
Yes.
So how many employees makes it fully staffed? You said
I
there's
think-
5 working, but how many do you have?
I
in there
think
total?
it's about 15. If I'm, Mr. Sanders, you have, Miss Carter, you have any idea?
So you have 15 people?
9 advocates.
So you have 10.
One
Okay.
is
And you
13.
work 2 hours, you work 2 shifts?
We work 2 hours short than the fixed route hours.
Okay, so you're gonna extend it to 10 to 10.
Yes, I want to extend it to 10, just the same hours as the fixed route.
So you're gonna have 1.5, 2 hour where you overlap in that
So,
time period?
yes, so we have, in the budget, we have part-time. I think, look, we have 2 part-timers. Yes, 2 part-timers in the budget. That's what I'm going to use. So the part-timers cannot work past 29 hours.
Okay, so you
So-
actually have 8 full-time people.
Yes, so yes, I'll have 8 plus, so we counted 13 plus 2 part-timers. Is that right, Ms. Carter?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have 5 working every day.
Mhm.
3 are off, but can fill in if somebody's off,
Is off,
sick,
yeah.
or vacation.
Yes, correct.
And of those 5 that work every day, do they work the full, are they gonna work the full 12 hours? Or are you gonna have them 8 and 8?
No, if I have the 2 part-timers join the staff, I will find a way to make sure that everybody get 8 hours and also weekends. So 7 days in a week. So if you're doing the fixed route is from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. So 5 to 5, right? We're talking what? How many hours is from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m.? What is it? But
on filling those positions, especially if your, wait time is critical to providing good service. And why aren't we filling those positions? Like you said, you like it.
Yeah.
Well, what's the challenge?
Yeah, the challenge is that people come and go. The wages,
So it's longevity.
yes, longevity, the wages, I think is what, 13, 14, 15, okay. Ms. Carter made it better, yeah.
So
When I came in, it was
what's
13.
their biggest complaint when they leave? Have you done a survey?
Yes,
on
I've
them?
done exit survey, I call it. So when you leave, even with the drivers, what I've done is when you leave, I want to know why.
Okay.
And most of them says, oh, we could work at Walmart, get the same money, it's flexible hours. You know,
Okay.
so
So we're not paying a competitive wage.
it's competitive for 15 as to Walmart, but they feel like flexibility was an issue.
But have you checked to see what other call centers are paying?
Oh, yeah, I did. I called where I came from.
In this region?
Not this region, but from Little Rock where I used to work. And their call center is set up that they have night differential. So if you work certain hours, you get more money. And me and Ms. Carter talked about that, trying to bring that same system here. That people work past certain hours at night, they're supposed to get paid differentials for working at night. So we think that will entice people to stay with us much longer.
Because I mean, they're right.
Yeah.
Walmart and Chick-fil-A,
Mhm.
Chick-fil-A is paying $20 an hour. And you off every Sunday.
We need to consider that our greatest resource is our human resource.
Yeah.
And that we need to take care of those who take care of us.
Yes.
But I'm telling you guys, we have no driver. We have no money. So we need to seriously take a look at what is out there in the market. We need our budget, we need to consider our human resources. Important.
We gotta do something to keep people in that call center longer.
Yeah.
Because your productivity goes down every time you gotta hire a new person.
Yes. And the
Productivity
training,
goes down all during that training.
yeah.
So, and then if you train a person, it takes you 3 to 6 months to fully train a person so that they can operate without being
Full capacity,
micromanaged.
yeah.
So you lose that.
Yeah. And not only that, what my concern was that after 8 o'clock, we have buses running, but our call center is closed. That's not good for any transit system. So, me and Ms. Faye and our executive team are working on that. Val is in charge at the call center. So we had all that talked about, and our goal is by next year, the hours of the fixed route is going to be the same as the call center. Yeah,
You know,
and that's service.
Yeah, and it's really hard to control morale in a call center. That's like something you got to be doing all the time because people get frustrated. Nobody calls the call center because they happy.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Nobody calls
Yeah.
because they happy.
And
So they take a lot of abuse.
yes, you're right. And this is why I've been saying that our bus communication center proposal, me and Ms. Fair are working on that. We plan to implement that next year. What that will do is it will cut off all this calls and anger. So there will be somebody here at the call center, at our control center. I call it bus communication center. It's the same setup at MADA. There will be somebody watching all our fleet, right? Telling you somebody at the bus stop, how many people at the bus stop, when the bus, all this pass up is going to stop. Now, most people call in because of pass up, right? Either bus gets there, driver takes off, or bus is late. Now, if I'm standing at the bus stop and I'm watching a car tracker and seeing that, oh, yes, the bus is late, but it's going to be here 5 minutes. Why would I call the call center? I won't. But they'll call the call center because in some cases, drivers don't log in. And if you don't log in, nobody can track you. So this is why now we have a supervisor here watching them every morning to log in before they leave. Because these are all the issues. So if the tracker is working, you checking the bus, tracking the bus on your phone, and you see the bus is going to be here 5 minutes or 2 minutes, you don't call the call center. The frustration is that people got passed up at the bus stop, buses are not on time, they're running late. And so the next thing they have to do is they call the call center.
Man,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the national average on the cost on the waiting time?
Well, the board set it up 60, which is, I think, AT&T came out with the 60 seconds. Most people in our industry use, so 60 seconds is the standard. Yeah. So the board is right on that target. And so if you call center, your target says, the board said, nobody should stay on the phone more than 60 seconds.
So is it ringing for that 86 seconds?
No, it's
or
just-
is it, are you on hold,
So-
listening to music?
You're on hold, but Ms. Faye did something incredible that had the IT people put on the recording. In the past, it wasn't. So a recording will tell you, just like you're calling a call center, you're on hold this minutes and telling all the information,
Your expected hold time.
expected
rather
hold
than
time,
just
yeah.
hearing music and thinking you're
Yeah.
just out there forever.
Yeah.
It now, when you're on there, it'll say your expected hold time is 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 45 seconds, so that we're being more customer
Yeah, so,
responsive. And Dr. Meany and I are working on this bus command
Yes.
center idea that he's had that I think is an excellent one. It's pretty complex. and
Yes.
So we just didn't have it ready for you all to consider at this time. We've got a technology component we're working through. We've got a person power component, and then we've got a procurement piece to it. And we're trying to make sure that we have all those things assembled and ready for you to review and think about as we advance that concept.
Yeah. And that system will know that the bus driver hasn't logged in. And so somebody monitoring can see on the bus and tell the bus driver logged in. If they don't log in, we can't track them. So these are all the reasons why the volume to the call center is so high and the wait time is longer than 60 seconds.
It's just that retention is an organization's greatest weakness,
You're right.
because you have to constantly retrain and recruit and bring those people in. You gotta do something so that people stay longer and they wanna stay and they're glad to stay. Because we have to retrain those people every time, and that affects our training budget. If you're constantly training new people, then you can't work on building the skills of your existing staff. So
And
that
that is
training
true.
budget gets blown.
Yeah.
Director Odell, we would like to ask, I know that this is an area that you have great expertise in. If there are some sort of the secret sauce or strategies that you've used in managing a call center that you have found particularly effective in doing just that, addressing morale, looking at retention in the the space that you do it, we would absolutely welcome your input. I think that would be incredibly helpful, especially right now, if we could get that, because we could bake it into what we're trying to propose with this bus command center, and bake it into the strategies that we're also trying to work on for the call center. So I think I know you have expertise in that area, and so things that are about retention, things that are about morale building, and those sorts of things, please send that over to us.
Okay.
And Director,
One of the things that you said is important to me, if somebody is telling you something, that's the reason why they're leaving, you need to listen to them as well. If you go
Yeah, and we did.
Of interviewing people, you need to listen to them, and then you have people that represent them, that should get that same information, so that they can work on morale and the culture of any department.
Yeah, and-
Whether it's with our, with our staff.
Yeah.
Because I think retention, I'm a effort, because I've had to deal with people, and my thing is, if I treat you right.
you're going to treat me right. Yeah.
So we got to listen,
Yeah.
we got to hear what they're
Yeah.
saying, and acknowledge the fact that that's how they feel.
And let me share this with you. So, Danya, I'm glad that she's here, ATU president. We did find a way. From the fixed route side, we find out people come and go because of the schedule. So what we call a split shift is you come in 4 a.m., you work 4 hours, and then you go, come back 3 p.m. So pretty much you're working 15, 16 hours, and you're only getting paid 8 hours. We work on that with the schedule, our consultant, and we, from 15 split shifts, we brought it down only 8. So this is the reason why we have to find out why are people leaving. And most of them say, hey, I don't like your schedules, so the split shift for the next board meeting and board bid that's coming up, we minimize all the split shifts. So, and WRA and Mary are working on it, that eventually my goal is that the less we have, the better. Because if it's, you have a lot of people driving all day and getting paid for 8 hours when they be here 16 hours.
People have to feel appreciated, they have to feel valued, they have to feel like they have a voice, and they want to know that they're being heard. So by you doing that, you gave them, you know, their voice.
Yes.
It's very important that you give people their voice.
Yes. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you for the call center. We were able to get to the voicemail, we set it up, and we're working on that. So,
That's
yeah,
great.
that's very good. Thank you.
That's great.
Yes.
Because people, you know, they call in, they're angry, they
Yes.
attack your operators. It's stressful.
Yes. Okay. Next slide. We're still on the call center. So, anything in green, and I'm very happy with how the average is. This is what the board have set up. The board is saying 14,771 calls, okay, within a month. Anytime this number goes low, that's why this is in green. All right, so that means that less people are calling. There are more people call in. So if you see this number, October, August was high, September was high, October is in green because it came lower than even what the board has set up. That means the public are not complaining, they're not calling us, or either they give up on us. But my hope is that this number will keep going low if we can, you know, find a way to let the call center also operation hours mimic the fixed route hours.
Do your call center girls also manage email?
There's one, yes, Val has taken that on her, managing all the email and the voicemail that we sell, yes, so,
Okay.
yeah, the manager does that. Yes, ma'am.
We actually see, Director, the info line. I see the info line. There's a group of us that all get the info line complaints and kudos when they come in. So we see those things. So if something needs to be directed a certain way, for example, I'm especially mindful of the ones that come in on weekends. I don't want people to wait until Monday unless they absolutely have to, so they feel like we're there with them. So if we get something that's a serious complaint over a weekend, we'll at least reply over a weekend and say, we've gotten your, thank you for making us aware of your concern, and someone's going to follow up with you on Monday to
Yes.
resolve your matter. And we just do that so people feel like they're being heard.
They're being heard.
And we do that on weekends and then after hours because there's, like I said, there's a group of us that are on the info line, and I do that frequently myself.
Yeah, and Faye has been a very good participant in that. And so finally I get to almost my last slide. They're all in green because they're all good news. So if you all can recall that the board did approve 10 gasoline vehicles, and they came in and they will roll out on September 30th. So the paratransit have 20 brand new vans, 10 electric and 10 gasoline. And I'm happy to say that things have always been good since we have now in our industry. If you have adequate manpower, you have a reliable fleet, your service has to be better. And so now paratransit, like I said, that is not much a problem now. It's been, like I said, we have 98% fully staffed. We got 90% vehicles all replaced, and we don't have the complaints like we used to have. I will get a call, somebody taking a client to dialysis, and the bus breaks down in the middle of the journey. And now all the time to swap the bus. So this is all taken care of. This is gone, and I'm happy to share that with the board and the public. Next is the CDA training. When I first came on board, that was something that I campaigned strongly on, and it came out as a very good program. So our supervisors are required to have a CDL. It's part of the job requirement. When I got here, almost about 4 or 5 didn't have a CDL. So we put them in the program, and they all did the road test and passed, and now all of them have CDL. Now, why is that important? It's important because if a bus driver didn't show up, the supervisor is required to take the bus out until we get coverage. So the supervisors have all been trained and have all passed the road test and have CDLs. So the program is ongoing. Currently, we have 13 in the program, and we're hoping it will get out all past the road test by November 27th. That would be extra 10 or 12 added to the fixed route, which will still need about almost 35 drivers. So this program is really good, and I'm happy that I introduced it and the board supported the idea. So just want to share that with you guys. The electric vehicle charging stations, we did buy 10 electric vehicles and we didn't have nowhere to charge them. So what we did was that the fixed route charging station, we used that to be charging the microtransit vehicles. The good news is that Georgia Power had a meeting with us last week, and they promised that by the end of the year, December, they will have all the 10 chargers all installed. And so that'll kind of help us out. So currently, we're using electric vehicles. We charge all the 10. We have 5 go out on the road, and then 5 spare in case they run out of energy. And just last week, one of them got stuck in Pula because it was out of power. So the charging substations will really help, and I'm looking forward for it. Next on my agenda, anytime I get to this to talk about Cat Connect, I applaud Ms. Carter so much on this program, finding the money and helping us. So this is a program that I have been involved from the ground up. I was part of the team that went to all these houses and talked to our senior citizens, and they're all looking out for it. My goal was to give them a Thanksgiving, so I was trying to roll it out before Thanksgiving. And there's always a setback. The vehicles didn't get here on time. We still have 4 applicants selected that are going through HR process. So my next goal will be first week in December, when I think we should be all set up to roll it, at least before Christmas. It's a good program. We'll pick senior citizens from their buildings and send them to shopping mall, and then bring them back home, and it's free. And so it's a very good program. Again, thank you, Ms. Carter. And my last one is the bus donation, which we have already talked about it, that most people didn't like the big bus because of cost and requirement to drive the bus. So next time, I guess, Director Clinton, your advice, and Dr. Robinson will make sure that on our website, we say that you need a CDL as part of the requirement, so folks will not get confused. And my last slide, which I'm happy, this is 13 people that join our program, the CDL program, and this is incredible. The CDL is a hot cake. People with CDL, you can't even find them. They go wherever the money is. So we came out with this program to train them in-house and get them licenses. And this is 13 people in the class. And we hope they all pass the road test and join our workforce by November 27th. So that will conclude my presentation. And I'll take any questions from you all.
Well, I would like to say, and I guess, well, I can speak for myself, but I appreciate information, I do. And I think that somehow, I don't know if I like what it says, I think that somehow, as board members, we've got to appreciate what staff does and the way that they present things to us, because it's important for us to know, and you have a right to just tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And when it's time to brag, you should have the opportunity to brag in front of them on what you're doing well. And even the way you present your reports, you look at it, you offer suggestions that I think are beneficial for everybody. So I appreciate it so much. And I just want to say, it may seem lengthy sometimes, but sometimes that's what it takes for us to be improved.
All right. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you all for listening to me.
Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate it.
Good afternoon. In the interest of time, I'm going to be very brief here. Good afternoon to Chairman Cody, the board directors, CEO DeMassimo, my esteemed colleagues, special guests, and the public watching. It is my pleasure to present to you the Planning and Infrastructure Development Update. Again, very, very brief. On the funding side, last month you were provided an update on the congressionally directed spending, or the THUD appropriations. As you may recall, this is a new program and it was unclear on how the funding was going to be distributed. CAT did receive $1.8 million in appropriation for Savannah Bell's hybrid electric ferry replacement. And since our last meeting, I wanted to update you that we have determined that in order for us to receive those funds, they need to be reallocated from the GDOT to FTA. We have made that request and we are working with our partners at GDOT and FTA to ensure that the process is complete. So this is a congressionally funded, so it is now with GDOT, the Department of Transportation, but it needs to be with the Federal Transit Authority. So those funds need to be reallocated from the Department of Transportation to the Federal Transit Authority.
Not an unusual thing, Dr. Robinson.
No, I'm not saying, I just didn't understand what it was. And my other question would be, what does that have any impact on the budget?
No, ma'am. It's just moving through the process. Yes, ma'am.
That particular THUD earmark, we have two, and that particular THUD earmark that you mentioned is for the third ferry, which hasn't been ordered yet. So we've got the funding allocation that we got last year from the legislature. We've got the THUD earmark, and then we've also are awaiting the nearly 20-year-old earmarks that were pending for various ferry improvements that were just sitting there that end up totaling about 1.2 million and fill out the remaining balance of funding needed for the third ferry.
Now, when we get that third ferry, are we going to extend where it goes, or it's just going to keep going back and forth?
Initially, the same triangle route that we're running now with 4 ferries will continue to run just as it does right now. However, in the master transit plan, we looked at the proposal for a service expansion in there of another triangle, but it's dependent upon the development occurring in other areas, both on the Hutchinson Island side and on the east side.
Are we talking about Tybee?
No,
I'm talking about Tybee.
No, ma'am.
Are we ever going to get Tybee?
Not on ferry service. Not at this time. We don't have plans for that.
It would seem like we would at least start thinking about how to include Tybee.
I think with the more of the Tybee connectivity has been proposed more on the how a bus expansion or a micro transit expansion, those kinds of things would connect to them versus a ferry service.
The thing about going by bus is that road is horrible.
Yeah.
You get stuck on there, you'd be off like hours waiting to try to get a mile. But the ferry could just go when it wanted to go.
I'm just thinking historically, have we ever looked at that?
Yes,
I thought so.
I've looked at it several times and through several different creative ways of doing it, including the I don't know what you call it, but the hovercraft things we had proposed, and that was really not
Cost effective.
But we at one time actually created a bi-state commission out of the county commissions of two in South Carolina, two in Georgia, and that was envisioned to include Tybee. Well, Chatham County and Chatham County Commission started the whole process to do that. We even drafted a bi-state compact to be approved by both states and by Congress. And for reasons I still don't understand, the initiator of this, Chatham County, pulled out, and that just pulled the rug out of the whole. But it was envisioned to include Tybee, Hilton Head, Beaufort, and several other areas in South Carolina and Tybee in Georgia.
Well, I'm not sure about how we can get them to Hilton Head, although that would be really nice. But Tybee, even if we didn't go every day, you know, if it was just on the weekend or something, it would be nice to be able to get tourists to our beach.
I think the same issue that we have, certainly these are all ideas and so forth we can look at. The idea is going to be you're going to have the same issues with this of cost and person power to, you know, reliable person power. We struggle with that with the marine services, just like we do with our regular service, and the operating cost.
Yeah.
And we'd have to figure out.
I think we'd have to charge more, but there may be people who are willing on a Saturday or Sunday pay for a ticket that's going to not run us in the hole
And I think what we've
to get over there.
What we've tried to do right now is to stay sort of focused on our core services and make sure that we are handling our core services and service expansions that are within our abilities right now. So, but I appreciate the fact that I think that's a visionary concept and something that we can certainly keep out there and consider.
Yeah, in the future. I'm not saying do it now, but.
Service expansion should include all modes of transportation, which is your fare.
Well, people complain that they can't get to Tybee.
Right, exactly.
You know, they complain, they can't. Yeah, you can't get to Tybee, you can't get down the road, you get stuck on the road. I mean, it's a complaint.
So I thank you for those comments. I've taken some notes as well. So moving on the report, I know you guys are anxiously awaiting the monthly planning reports. I wanted to let you know that I am working with IT in our operating department, and we'll be getting those year reports in January. This will also include the report on the implementation of that transit development plan and our transit master plan. So that will be incorporated into our planning report. And then finally, just a brief update on our staffing specifically in our department. We do have several open positions, and I'm working on recruitment specifically with our partners like the Georgia chapter of the American Planning Association. These are very technical positions that we're trying to fill, and I just want you to know that this is something that's a national phenomenon. It's not something that's unique to CAT. Many other agencies are really struggling to try to fill these really technical planning in project management positions.
How many positions is it?
Well, we have 4 open positions right now.
And what are they?
So we have 2, it's a project manager, senior planner position. We have a grants administrator, and then we have what we call the systems planning manager.
We have a TOD position.
That's what, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, one of the things.
You're not the grants person?
No, I'm the chief planning officer. So there's a specific position for grants as well.
Oh, okay.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And I also think that in,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been going several hours and have not gone to the bathroom yet.
Just everybody take a break.
Yeah.
I think we could.
I mean,
What's on the agenda?
could we just?
We only got to,
I mean, I don't bathroom room.
but I don't want to see them have to make their report short, because we know getting lost up in the agendas.
I'm just saying, let's take a bathroom break.
Andrew, I see your agenda.
So this is not a neat break. Okay, this is, y'all, I've got a lot to do. I mean, this is particularly thing.
yeah, we just trying to,
And these
once we get
3
to this,
hours.
director's report.
We've got 2 more under the reports. You got executive. That's gonna be me, I think, and I'm gonna keep it very short. Oh, thank you. Yes, sir. I'm just gonna. just gonna say, they shouldn't be doing this. Unlawful.
What do you do?
And it's gotta stop. Trying to avoid.
Maybe you may have some of the stuff in the legislature, downtown here. Some of it is.
Thank you.
Hey, Donna, how are you?
Yeah.
Come with us.
So it's the transportation, housing, and so it's the HUD, which is an awful name, because I always want to say SUD. Yeah, but it was part of the Build Back Better, yeah. For the, it was the 2023.
I understand that because I was chair of the housing authority.
Yes, so it's the HUD, yes, you got that part right.
So many acronyms.
There's a whole alphabet soup, there's acronyms for acronyms, I think.
He was singing Row, Row, Row.
That is original. I really.
But I remember back in the day, they always kind of had like cutesy names for things, like this ice tea or safety lube. I think they moved away from that, so.
Hey, you just sent me that.
How long was you doing babysitting?
No, my son-in-law just sent me a video, and it's hilarious. I'll let you can play it. That's funny. He's got the twins. He's babysitting.
I go to Orange Park, fill the daytime.
That's what I.
Text you on some number.
Oh my God. That's
Why didn't y'all go get lunch while we doing the break?
So much to do. These 3-hour meetings are killing me.
All right, you ready to go? Ready?
No, I don't cook turkey. Nobody in my family eats.
Is that right?
Next we'll be having, Ms. Carter.
It's twins. Sent me a video, and it said, something about
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
everyone.
You're on. Yeah.
I'm on, okay.
Is it okay for you to talk?
We'll excuse you if we have to.
You can wait to committee if you need to.
Huh?
You can wait.
Is there anything pressing we need to know?
I think there are some important things I just need to share,
Just highlight.
and I'll just do highlights.
Just do the highlights.
Yeah, that's
Really
okay.
good financial shape.
Okay. The first slide, please. Where's our-
Oh.
Just highlight it.
When are we having the executive session?
Town City's campus meeting.
Yeah, he follows.
Oh, that's after this? Oh, no, we still got Sanders.
Yes, sir, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Why did we not get lunch? Ain't it 2:00?
We're gonna have supper like that. Supper.
No.
All right. Okay, the overview slide, it gives,
Given Ms. Cutter's voice, if we can all be super quiet, that would help.
We're in a meeting.
it gives the account balances for the operating payroll grant and the investment account. The operating account balance, that includes operating dollars of $4,271.34, in addition to restricted funds of $2 million that was set aside for mixed route bus refurbishment and $500,000 for retirement plan enhancements. The grant fund, that includes funding primarily for the ferry vessel construction, and of course, the investment account that is for emergency funds set aside to cover Chatham area transit in the event of revenue shortfalls.
Ms. Cutter, you did say that top line includes the 2.5 million that would be
Yes.
reserved for,
Yes.
in the capital reserve, once that's considered. Got it?
What was that again?
The 6 that shows operating account, that account is all inclusive right now. It includes, that balance reflects $4,271,039 for operations, $2 million to support the mixed route bus refurbishments that's outlined in the capital, 5-year capital plan, and $500,000 set aside for retirement plan enhancements.
And those were included in the budget recently adopted.
The $2 million is in the capital,
In the
5-year
capital.
capital plan for fiscal year '24, and the $500,000 is sitting there in the operating account as a part of fiscal year '23 savings. Okay. And this slide just shows a comparison by month, July, August, September, October, of the operating account balances. Our revenue by category, of course, nothing new. Transit tax, paratransit funded by Chatham County. And then our grant revenue, the major funding sources. Dr. Penny talked about increased ridership, both fixed route and paratransit side. This graph shows the revenue, their revenue that's coming in on the fixed route side. You can see in August 23, August of this year, revenue dipped, but now it's coming back up. Same similar trend on the paratransit side. For some reason, it dipped in October. Our transit tax, I wanted to, if you can see, in the month of October, the transit tax receipts that we received in November, if you looked at on the November report, was $2.6 million. And always keep in mind, revenue over expenditures is really driven by that transit tax, and when we see that, when we get further and show the overview of expenses, you'll see expenses 2.1 million higher than revenues. It's because of October, it's 2.6. That's gonna flatten that out because we get this revenue a month behind. Okay? And then the Georgia Fund, you can see the annual interest July through August, and we continue to do well with that. Transit tax district chart, you see the 2.6 million here. We received that money in mid-November. And it's broken down by category, just broken down by category. Overview of the investment account, like to keep you all abreast of what's going on there. And then the expenses by division. You can see the revenue shortfall in compared to budget is driven by transit tax receipts when we receive them. Now, I anticipate us seeing a good transit tax receipts for the month of November as well. That's going to put us even here. For the month of October, the expenses exceeded revenues by $2.1 million. October transit tax receipt, $2.6 million. It flattens that out with a little more to go towards operations. Clear on that? Okay. And this just reflects the expenses by category. Salaries, 52%, benefits, 17%. The two largest expenditure categories. The human asset is the most valuable asset. So we have to continue competitive wages, competitive benefits. That's what we're constantly striving to do for all employees at Chatham Area Transit.
Ms. Cutter, before you move off that slide, I wanted to just call the attention of the board members, and this is in response to requests that we've received from individual board members as well. There are two handouts at your place today that gives you the salaries incrementally for every position at CAP, both those that are part of the collective and those that are administrative. So you've got
Thank you.
sheets here, and we wanted you to have a hard copy of that, but it's all of the salary information in the
Thank you very much.
that you all have requested.
It's really more than what I asked for, and it's not broken down the way that I asked for it, and it's been changed. So I'm still not sure. I'm gonna have to go through here and manually calculate what the merit increase was for each of these quarters.
Okay, let me clarify, please. Yes.
That is spit this stuff out, so you're not recreating these things, are you?
in response to what I'm being asked, yes, I have to develop a pivot table, pull down the information, and report it accordingly. Now, on the administrative side, administrative staff receives cost of living and merit. On the union side, that's a totally different structure. It's governed by the collective bargaining agreement, and they have steps. And the reasoning for the presentation as it is so you all have a clear understanding and could see what those steps are for every different union employee. Fixed route, paratransit, and maintenance. When you condense all of that information, you can only give it by average. It's my understanding that the board wanted exact information. The average went from 7.1 to 15%. And this spreadsheet allows you to see where the 15% is, where the 7.5% is, what paratransit received, and that scale went from 4 all the way up to 33%.
But some of that, what you're talking about is salary adjustment. I was trying to figure out what their merit increase was, and if they only received 1% for a merit increase. I understand the cost of living because I'm the person that brought it to the table to get everybody to get 3% cost of living. And Dr. O'Halloran joined in with me to get everybody else to see that 3% was a reasonable thing. I still don't understand why 3% didn't go to everybody. And I don't think we all knew that it didn't go to everybody. But this, it does show. And I would have to calculate what the increment was to get them there. But if you look at $28.99 to $29.28, just randomly, that's a 1% increase. So if the merit increase is 1%, then let's say the merit increase is 1%. Salary adjustments does not count as that's a salary adjustment. We're supposed to pay people, and they're supposed to get decent salaries. And if we were shortchanging them for any reason, we should have adjusted, because we asked for a salary survey back when Curtis was here, and it didn't get done till you got here. So those salaries were supposed to be fixed.
I understand, but let me explain what that is. On the sheet that you received, you have a column for cost of living, which was 3%. All administrative employees received that. You also have a column for merit increases. Everybody don't get the same merit increase.
I know.
A merit increase is 0 to 3%, 0 to 2%, and that's based upon the department heads that evaluate employees and assigns that merit increase. That's why you're going to see under the column merit, you're going to see some zeros.
Right.
You're going to see, you're going to see from 0 up to 2%, and then to not compute to get the other adjustments is because there were other adjustments for various different reasons.
And I
to
understand
show what that was.
And I wasn't so much looking at what they were making, because I was under the impression salary adjustments had been made. I was looking at the percentage of increase. And what I wanted to know is if a union member gets evaluated, what is their merit increase amount?
Union is all union cost of living, merits, all of that's taken into consideration around the bargaining table. And what comes out of that is placed in the CBA, and the adjustments are in accordance with that document.
But they don't get a 3% cost of living each.
It's now
when everybody else does, they don't get it.
They get their adjustments and according to the schedule within the CBA. Now, I keep hearing this, union representation is here. So I would suggest when we come around the bargaining table, outline it like that. What portion are you all asking for? Cost of living? If you want to put merit on the table, however you want to do it. That's what the negotiation process is all about. Administrative staff, we don't sit around a table and make that up. We actually sit around the table and try to come together and come up with something that Chatham Area Transit can sustain. The last 2 fiscal years, what was really important around the negotiating table, not only wages, but it was better benefits. And nobody has never said or talked about the significant reduction in medical insurance premiums that went back into every employee's pocket. You're talking about, in some cases, over $150 a payment. What's that? That means CAT took on that responsibility and covered that cost. We are trying to beef up the retirement system. We pay more on dental insurance. We're covering vision. So we looked at it, and it was my impression that we all were on the same page with it.
One other thing to mention that Ms. Cutter hadn't gotten to yet, but mentioned briefly a minute ago, and you brought up too, Director Odell, was you said that you've been looking at or you had been asking for the salary surveys. We are mid-range, isn't that correct, Ms. Cutter, on the national salary surveys that we got?
On the operator side, we're
Yes,
a little
ma'am.
above that.
We're a little above.
Now, when they did the pay and comp study 2 years ago, believe it or not, that comp study revealed that some of CAT's salaries were elevated. Even employees at the lower level, we talked about call center. They had them at $12 and some odd cents an hour. So we've been really trying to research on our own and bring salaries up hourly to where they need to be, even looking at city, county, school board here locally. The paratransit, the reason the recommendation range from 5 up to 33%. We looked at what Chatham County were paying their drivers. We had one, and I will never forget this, an employee, a paratransit driver, 17 years of service, making $14.25.
And we
had to deal with that. We had to deal with those things.
But that is a systematic failure on CAT's part.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate
Absolutely.
y'all fixing that. But we've been asking for those things to be fixed going back to Curtis. And not that you got to take on the burden of the guilt from it. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I do not want this agency to contribute to the poverty in Savannah. I want us to hear our employees, to pay our employees, take care of them medically to the best of our ability based on the size of our organization, and for everybody to be treated fairly. If the merit increase is going to be 1 to 3, then it should be 1 to 3. If it's just going to be 2, then let's make it 2. But I don't want there to be any discrepancy so that anybody doesn't feel like we value each and every member of this organization, because everybody got a part to play. And if the person at the bottom don't play their part, the person at the top can't do their job. And that's very important to me.
And we hear you loud and clear. Union representation is here. When we come around the table, we're talking the term all employees. We want bus operators pay, operators pay to be competitive so that we can keep We want administrative employees' pay to be equitable so that we can keep them. And I must say, we have exhibited that over the last couple of years.
We really worked hard to pay attention to that.
And we'll continue to even do better. As we bring more money in, more money is going towards the employees and keeping them.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that y'all not. I'm
Sustainability
saying
is-
that if I ask one question, that question is not designed to attack anybody, to start anything. It's simply a question for informational purposes. And it looks like there were salary adjustments, yes. But if you look at this sheet, for merit increases, it was a 1%. And that's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay, the adjustments are a myriad of things. And
They are.
That's why it was broken out like that.
Yes, ma'am.
To show where salary adjustments were made.
But we asked you to.
That's
And
right.
I appreciate that y'all did salary adjustments.
It's important, and I want you all to understand, because financial integrity is important to me. And Mr. Massimo, please excuse me. And I work very hard to ensure financial transparency. And when things come up with the appearance that there is no financial transparency, that's minded.
But no question have I asked has ever implied
That's not
that
what I'm saying.
anybody has
That-
not been,
That includes fairness.
it includes, yes,
The union
and,
members are here, they are here.
but I don't talk to them. And as a board member, I can't talk to them. I can't ask them a question. I can't send them an email. I can't get any information from
Director
them.
Odell, all I'm saying is, it's important. I can't speak for anybody else, but it's important to me that this board has confidence in us that we're gonna do the right thing. And trust me, when we come around this table again with budget, I wanna hear what everybody's needs. We're gonna see what other operators are making. We're gonna strive to get to 80% of medical coverage. We're gonna strive to make it complete and comprehensive. That's what we do every day. And it includes every administrative person being good fiscal stewards. Not only me, but every and operation.
But y'all should not feel like a question attacks your integrity or your character.
I understand we have a lot of questions.
I need to ask one question. Based on what was asked, what I'm hearing is that on this chart, it doesn't appear what was asked. But I hear you say it was. So my thing is, what was given, then somehow needs to be delineated in a way that we can see that what was being actually being asked, by specific questions. So somehow that would be delineated in a way that we can see it. And we should have to dig, dig.
You don't have to dig. The columns are there and they're labeled.
This is what I want to piggyback off of what you just said. I do have a lot of questions that came to me from various board members. So what I wanted to do is, as a board, let's get our questions together that we have for this budget before we go to the next budget meeting. Then that way, what I'm gonna do is collect that information from the board members. I'm gonna give it to our CEO so he can go over with you. And then we can get these answered, specifically. Because what I'm gathering is certain questions that were asked did not come back.
I beg to differ, Mr. Chairman. Every question that was asked was answered.
Yes. That's what
Now,
I want to clarify.
yes, I did add columns because I had to. I couldn't say a pay adjustment was a merit increase. because it wasn't. My driving force is always honesty and transparency. When you merge things, people can get misled, thinking it's something that it's not. Pick and choose. If you don't want to see one color, but you have it.
But are
This
you, but so,
information has been shared multiple times.
so are you saying that there is no merit increase that is a part of the union contract? There's no merit increase percentage?
They don't call it merit. What they, in the collective bargaining agreement, there are different components of increases in salaries and then of course the benefits piece.
So do
it's
they
not
get
called
do
merit,
do
but
they get a performance review?
I think theirs is just standard, isn't that correct?
Once that, from my understanding, and legal can assist with this, once that contract is signed,
They just.
that's what it is, whether they perform poorly.
It's
or
not a
good.
performance.
Okay.
Admin employees get that, but the union does.
So maybe the next time y'all can educate us on union, because I'm obviously not understanding. Yeah, I'm obviously not understanding how that process works.
There's a give and take between the union and management. And you eventually, hopefully, usually come to numbers that, where both sides are satisfied.
And do they delineate how they get to that formula?
There is no formula. The formula is they ask and we say no, then we ask and they say no, and it goes back and forth.
Okay.
Till you reach a compromise that everybody is ready to sign and agree to.
Okay.
But we appreciate all your questions and we really have been trying diligently to answer. So if it feels like there's still some gap here, we want to make sure that we explain that. But this was our work and Ms. Cutter's work, lots of work to try to make sure that we were being as transparent, giving the information that was responsive to the questions in the way that, was accurate and transparent and all those sorts of things. So,
But if I ask a question that's not appropriately arranged so that you can answer it, tell me that that question is not an appropriate question. I feel like sometimes I ask a question, y'all give me abundance of information, then I come back and then there's the complaint that I'm either trying to start problems or I'm complaining or I'm not doing something. I am genuinely interested in something if I ask the question. And it's not because I'm sneaking, trying to find out that y'all did something wrong, or I don't trust anybody. I'm genuinely wanting to understand the information. So if I ask a question and that question cannot be answered because it's framed incorrectly, tell me that.
we absolutely believe that as you just stated, that's your intention, and our intention is to be nothing but responsive. We don't assume that you're asking anything for any purpose other than you want to know. And we have every question we've been asked, every question. I know there may have been once or twice when we were a little delayed getting an answer, but we have answered every question, and we always do that to the best of our ability. So if we're, it's a give and take and partnership here, making sure that we understand one another. But we appreciate that.
And I'd just like to say, if it's okay, since I'm the one that's normally crunching the numbers, if I have the open door to reach out and ask so that.
Of course you do. Nobody would ever deny your phone call.
Because, I'm just, I think transparency is the gospel. And especially when it comes to public dollars. And I'm willing to give it, to share. Even if we are in a crunch or wrong, you all will know it. Absolutely. So I will be more open and hope I won't bother you by calling you and asking you now, let me make sure I have this right. Because I can, I feed the numbers now, but I want you to understand them and I want them to be clear to everyone. And that's my goal. That's my goal. Just be disappointed when it's not what you want. So I give it all so you can actually see it.
Chairman Cody, I said it to, let know people that what we need is a board retreat. It's just board and maybe legal, maybe without legal, so that we can hash out the kind of things in our expectation.
No, they need to come.
Yeah.
We need to do it around their schedules, they can show
Well,
up.
we've got a retreat scheduled.
But no, I'm saying just a board retreat. We have just a board retreat scheduled, just the board.
I saw a retreat on the calendar.
I saw 2 financial workshops.
Thought I saw.
Beverly, you have scheduled a board retreat.
No, we have not scheduled a board retreat.
We've asked for one, get us together because we were gonna bring this Cooper team for that.
No, I think we need a board retreat. That's just my suggestion.
I think that'd be good.
And then y'all educate us on the union.
So that would be a separate one.
Yeah.
And then there'd be a board and staff retreat. that's
So we can
more
all
like
get
what
on
we're
the same
talking about,
page.
Correct, Robbins?
Well, I know what's on the calendar, but when I say we need to advocate board retreat with board member, and if they don't leave the come, that's fine, but it will not include staff. Is that, am I clear?
And then you think there also should be one that, in addition to that, that includes staff too.
We should have several that include staff, because we need to break this stuff up in compartments so that we can spend the time to go into it and address it. You know, we are responsible for policy and procedure. We can't do that if we don't understand operations. If we don't understand what you do and what you need, we can't give you a policy.
And I appreciate the effort that went into that financial, calendar, the adjustment we made, it's things like that, that if we bring it, it has, we bring it because we need it.
They're always here to support.
I think she's finished, and Mr. Sanders, do you have a brief report too?
Real brief.
If they're woozy in the head, I need to eat.
Yes, we need to get some food.
Okay, next slide. You can go to the next one. Okay. Good afternoon, Chairman and board members. It's an honor for me to be here today. This is actually the first meeting where I get to present, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been hired and the opportunity to work with each of you all. And so with that, my report is going to be brief given the time. I'm going to talk about two things, primarily talk about some HR information. This being the first slide that talks about recruitment recruitment stats as of October 2023. And as you can see down at the bottom, we had 119 applications received. Of that, when they were analyzed, 55 were determined not to be qualified. Offers were made to 9 individuals, and 9 individuals were hired, which leaves us with 61 vacancies for your information. Next slide, please.
What's our total number of employees? 220 something?
I'm not sure,
We're
Director Odom.
budgeted for 312.
312, okay.
Okay. All right. Any more questions about this one?
No.
Okay. Next slide, please. This one is the CAP vacancy report as of 11/6/2023. And as you can see, it's broken down by division, position, and have 70 vacancies as of right now. And I heard some conversation about it earlier. It is something that now that I'm here, we are going to get aggressive about trying to help out Dr. Manny and any of the other divisions, including Mary, where there are vacancies. So I'm currently looking at a variety of strategies. I'm open to any that you might have as well on how we can get people in. And I know we've talked about salary and some other things. I don't think there's a simple answer to getting people in, but I am confident, I believe that we can get this number down.
What's the discrepancy between this number and the previous one? It was 61 on that page. It's 70 on this page. It's 9.
I knew
Is that the 9 hires?
Yes, ma'am. I knew that was going to come up. This is November. The previous one was as of October.
Okay.
Does that make sense? This is as
So
of 11/6.
it's still 9, it's still a discrepancy of 9.
It went up a little bit, I think, as of going into November as opposed to October. It went up a little bit, because I know in some areas we had some folks that left, if I recall correctly, Mr. Massimo, like
I think that's
safety
correct.
and the safety,
These reports
security
are
officers.
dynamic, and they don't, as was just alluded to, that these two particular slides don't line up in terms of the timeline, and it creates that discrepancy in the numbers. But we can work on the next
Yes.
report to reach, you know what I mean, to eliminate that representation that might create confusion.
I'd also like to know, what is your departure survey? How do you survey them and your exit interview?
Yes, ma'am. I actually wrote that down because I agree with you. We need to know, and I believe we need to know across the board, who's
Yes.
leaving as an operator, who's leaving as a secretary, why. And so one of the thoughts that I have is to represent that at least graphically in January and perhaps going forward.
Yes.
Okay.
Like on this particular chart, where I can see recruiting, and I don't see what's in board meetings, I don't see any action being taken. So I'm just blank, what does that mean?
That means that, and I'm answering because I prepared these. That means that there has not been a request by the manager to recruit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's important when I see
Yes,
these blank spaces.
Now, how long can a manager leave a position open without answering to HR staff?
We really have no criteria for that. It's up to the manager, and a lot of it was tied to restructuring and trying to feel out whether this position would work or that one wouldn't work, and the time it would take to train new people coming in and the short staff. So there are a lot of variables that went into that. It takes so much time to train new people, and some of the managers simply didn't have the time. So they were waiting until we were better staffed, where they could devote that time to bring in new staff and get them properly trained.
Okay.
But the position itself is new.
Yeah,
Yes,
because I'm wondering how the not recruiting and having the position opens contributes to the achieving or failing of department goals.
If you put it that way, I would say it has direct impact. So if that's something that needs to be fixed, and I will assume that it already is being fixed, it's something that we can look at and make sure that we address better going forward.
I think that's been true ever since. I know that you and Mary are a little bit newer, but I mean, I think you can see even within in your own departments, the doubling up of duties that were undertaken over the last year and a half, and tripling up of duties over the last year and a half meant that we had to prioritize on any given day how much we could do on any particular thing to accomplishing a particular performance goal. And that there was just no other way around that. However, we really have, one of the things, for example, it's just maybe a small thing, I suspect it's not a small thing to you all, is this November was the first time that we've gotten a board package out on time.
And that was exciting.
Oh, you have no idea.
Let me tell you, it was exciting.
We nearly had a party in the hall over here. So it was, and it was because though we actually had a full set of chiefs, and instead of everybody trying to juggle agenda items and regular work and doing and reviewing and and last minute and something else happened, you know what I mean? It was structured like it's supposed to be. So I think even more deeply in the organization, you're going to continue to see that as we continue to fill positions, that you're going to see performance goals, because that doesn't just stop at the chief level.
Right.
It doesn't start or stop at the CEO or the chief level. It's down into managers and those kind of folks that are all the way down to everybody who's getting the job done. So
And I think having a format. Creating how you're going to do the report, when you're going to do the report. And I think some of that goes to credit to what she did, because it helps us with the goal.
Yeah, and I think at some point, maybe managers have to be forced to recruit if it's affecting their ability then they should be forced to recruit.
Well, just please know, we are recruiting. If there's something that I can't see very clearly from here, I'm sorry, on some of the ones that aren't necessarily being recruited right now, but we are recruiting, and we're recruiting in those key positions that we know we need to, we're sort of prioritizing what's got to get filled first, and then we start down to the next thing, so.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Director Gertrude, I agree with your comment, because I think reporting, not just reporting, but how you report information is very key. I've heard that as a reoccurring theme today. I'm in full support of that as one individual who's looking forward to reporting on all the areas of administrative services. And I assume you all know those areas, but if you don't, as a new CAO that's come on board, I'm now the team lead for IT, HR, procurement, safety, security, and risk management, training and development, and also the diversity, equity, and inclusion program. Yeah, for your information. IT, HR, procurement, safety, security, and risk management, training and development, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And the diversity, equity, inclusion, and the safety, security, risk management both are required by federal regulations. They have to have a dotted line to the CEO. So I have engagement, involvement in both of those areas as well.
Yeah. So if there are no more questions on this, I just wanted to touch real briefly on some things that I'm brainstorming about going into January that I want to report to you, as well as some things that administrative services I want to lead in terms of us addressing them going forward. So real quickly, as has been mentioned, I'm sure already, the updating of policies and the implementation of procedures as it relates to the triennial review. There are a bunch of them that fall under me as I've looked at the report, and so I will be addressing them, and as the need arises, certainly updating you all on that. I'm looking at improving business processes. A lot of what I've heard today deals with business processes, so to the extent that I can do that, I'm going to certainly work on that so that we can make the organization better, at least in my area. The diversity, equity, inclusion, mentioned that already, but that's certainly something that I want to get up and running. I know there's interest from some board members on that. And also one that I've been made aware of that we've been asked to do, and that is an initiative, if you will, to deal with doing business with CAT. And so that is something that's planned, that Mr. Massimo and I have talked about. That is something that will be coming your way, that we'll be updating you on in the very near future. So if there are any questions about any of those, I can certainly attempt to ask them, but that pretty much concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We're going to do executive session. We're going to be 10-minute break. And before we leave, I want to emphasize on the importance of this budget information. It's very sensitive information. We'd like to see it. The budget information is that.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So,
If you would please be sure and notice the clock.
So, okay, so just to
Call
clarify,
us really quick, so then stay quiet.
Yeah, we're going right to the executive. Yeah, we need to take a motion.
No, we gonna get our food and then we'll take our seat. Everybody's got to pass up.
I'm gonna run y'all out of here. Grab your lunch, keep going. Are you done? Well, I think I did. Okay. Perfect. That's a good.
No,
How's that for now? I don't know if you looked at what time it is, Director Lockett, but it's a little late. Yeah.
Crispy on the outside, and everything's getting 60. My wife is a huge fan, so.
Beverly, is the tea sweet or unsweet? The one that's in the thing? Okay, good. I'll get some. Yeah, but I didn't know whether it was sweet or not. And I think unsweet tea is ungodly. You live
I move we go to executive session.
We have a motion made by Director Ennis to effect the Director Robinson to enter into executive session for the
Purposes of what it says on the agenda.
Purpose. Consultation with legal to discuss pending potential litigation, settlement claims, administrative proceedings, and other issue action.
What? It sounded like it did.
Director Emerson?
Yes.
Director Odell?
Yes.
Director Scott? Yes. Director Lockett?
Yes.
Director Adams?
Yes.
Director Robinson?
Yes.
Director Leggett? Not present. Director Taylor? Director and Chairman Cody?
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed to enter into closed session. And I'll stop the breakout. Okay, Chairman.
All right, thank you. I welcome everyone back for coming out of executive session. There were no votes or actions taken. At this time, I would like to thank everybody for coming out today. I wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. We'll see you all next year, January.
Motion second.
Thank you. Adjourn. This meeting is adjourned.
All right, bye, everybody. All right. Well,
Nap time? It's about time to go.